And welcome, everyone. I believe it is time for us to do some talking because it is time for Otaku, where we talk about anime that we have watched, particularly this one down here, Blood of the Last Vampire. Anime that came out a little while ago. It is October, so we're talking Halloween stuff.
Yep.
Talking scary stuff.
Yeah.
And this is, unlike a lot of other anime, which might be scary, might be horrific, this one is notable for the fact that it is actually set around Halloween. There is a band of trick-or-treaters in this anime, this work of anime. This is a anime film from the year 2000, but by Production IG. It is set in 1966. And based, I believe, or there is a connection with Mamoru Oshii, which I'm still unclear on because he wrote the light novel version of this, which came out about the same time. Basically, so according to Wikipedia, the president of Production IG approached Oshii with because he wanted to make a new anime work. The IG president did, and asked him to submit something. And Oshii was doing a class about how to make your own projects, and he got a submission from two individuals, Junichi Fujisaki and a young man named Kenji Kamiyama, who got his start in the animation industry in 1987, drawing backgrounds for DuckTales, and then went on to
work
do,
is work.
Exactly.
You gotta start somewhere.
Then went on to do backgrounds for Pat Labor, and then art directed a bunch of stuff, and then directed a little series called Ghost in the Shell Standalone Complex. So went on to do very well in
that little one.
That little one, yes.
That little unknown thing.
Yeah. Then directed Eden of the East and a bunch of other stuff. So went on to become a pretty guiding light in the industry. So Blood of the Last Vampire ended up becoming kind of the first of a sort of a series of works, manga, novel, and a live action movie version sometime later, which we will probably not speak today. This is the anime. It's only like 45 minutes or so.
It was short.
It was short. Yeah. And let's start because Oshii is sort of tangentially related, somewhat related. Let's start with kind of the overall visual style of this, because Blood of the Last Vampire is definitely visually distinctive. It has sort of that Ghost in the Shell original movie vibe of being kind of dark, kind of undersaturated in a lot of instances, and just very very distinctive. How did it sort of grab you visually overall?
When I watched it again, I was reminded about how much of a hand Oshii actually had in this movie. You can definitely see his influence in it. And what I thought was interesting was the combo work of the cell animation and CGI. When I first watched it years ago, I was drinking a little bit, and so I didn't quite get that at the time, but it does grab you. I mean, that whole subway scene where really nothing happens. It's just movement of the subway and lighting. And then it just explodes, and you're just like, "What?
Yeah.
What happened here?" But it's just you're right. It's dark. It is dark almost throughout the whole thing. It is even the day scenes, the one day scene that you have in there.
Yeah.
And the rest of it is just visually, it's just very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And I enjoyed it very much. Now that I wasn't drinking watching this movie, so I got a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
But no, seriously, it's visually it's very good. But like I said, you can definitely see Oshii's handprint on this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a very visually distinctive style.
Yeah.
As I had made the comment before we started streaming about the collagen-filled lips of the main character. That's and her, I guess, would be her handler, the tall sort of Frankenstein guy with the
David,
weird set eyes, and like just the shape of his face is really weird. And that, you know, all the facial types are distinct in this. There's not much that I recalled seeing that was just sort of generic background. Every character had a distinct look to them that was very easily identifiable. Yes, there he was in the subway where it's a really weird looking face on him. And that sort of struck me going through this as well. It's like there's daylight in this show, but it is, even at the best of daylight, it's still in a foreboding daylight where it's like it's heavy with the idea that something bad's gonna happen, and then the rest of the show is just all really dark. Like, oh
yeah, literally, like as it's growing darker and darker during, you know, that the one daylight scene, you're just like, as soon as that sun goes down, all these
bad's going on.
All the sun's gonna have something, you know. There will be blood.
Well, I was gonna say, and it's like if you didn't know from the title that something bad was gonna happen, and then you were expecting that, it's like if you went into this with no title at all, you easily could identify, you know, how it's going to ramp up. The darker it gets, the more it's going to ramp up what's happening. It's
and it's very kind of the overall pace of it, because it does start, you know, very, very mundane with the subway. And then you have the famous subway attack, which I don't think I can show much of here, but where she, you know, attacks someone, and it ends up rather bloodily, as you might imagine.
But even in that, it's done in a really, like, very nicely done. You're not just gratuitous gore,
right?
It's just lights are going off and on, clickety clack. You know, the train's moving along. Then like there's this frenetic blam moment of just hell breaks loose, and you don't even really see a lot of it.
No,
it's just, you know, it's the lights are off and crap goes on, and then all of a sudden the lights are back on again. You're like, huh?
Yep.
Yeah, and actually for a moment I was really confused. I'm like, because you know she's done right with the attack. You don't actually see the attack. Then the most that you see is her raising the blade, and that's it as she's charging, and then you just see the one moment of the guy up against the glass, like, help me. But then the body go. Like, for like a minute, you're like going, wait a minute, there should be a body and blood all over the place. What? So, and you don't really see that much of it until about a couple minutes later.
But again, you know what I mean? It's one of those things where like you look at the title, and it's like, okay, that maybe there's no body because, like, whatever she did, it evaporated or somehow it like just disappeared because she's got like some magical weapon or something. And it's like, okay, you know, I think that's what happened.
And I think it's great foreboding. Is okay, you have this this very mundane thing. You have your moment of action, and you're like, okay, like there's clearly action, there's clearly horror going on here, and then we kind of move into the rest of the story, so we have that anticipation building in, and then you get the base that she's on, and this has got to be kind of interesting because it is set in 1966, I believe.
Yes.
Yeah, the 60s definitely in Japan. So yeah, that kind of weird nostalgia. Well, I say weird, but that kind of that looking back on the way things used to be. She's in this, you know, the wooden high school, which is now, you know, the ghost.
Well, it was kind of
school.
funky because I think before they showed the 1966 October Halloween dance, before they showed that, they showed the tarmac.
Yeah.
And they showed F-105 Thunder Chiefs rolling along, and I'm looking at it, I'm like, I don't really identify anything else in this that's specifically set in that, except for that aircraft. And I'm like, that's a 1960s aircraft. When does? And then you see the poster, and it's like, oh, I thought it was contemporary.
Yeah.
Like, no, it's not.
Well, one of the things I liked about that I found interesting about that when they're panning through the, you know, the base and everything, it's 1966, but it's just for once you get a lot of the unusual things about this movie. One of the big unusual things is that you actually see American dependence and soldiers on the base and interaction between the two cultures. That even though it's very brief, that what you see, it's really interesting, and it shows almost like a lot of what life was like on a military base, Japan, that's American. And when Seiya shows up, and she's just like, and like everyone just looks at her funny because there really aren't any other Japanese students there, so you know, she's the odd one out.
Yeah, she's dressed like a Japanese student, which the school nurse looks at her and is like, "Are you Japanese?" It's like everybody else is just dressed sort of, you know, kind of American 1960s kid.
Yeah, exactly. And it's, I think, one of the reasons why the movie jumps out at you is because it is playing around with these very distinctive things about the culture of the time, where you have this military base in Japan where you have no Japanese people, basically, you know, and where a Japanese person is foreign, despite all that stuff, which is just fascinating to me, I think. And I think it and again, it kind of builds into these themes of, okay, you have this horror movie, and then you're setting up the fact this is sort of a liminal space, right? It is a very different space in and of itself, which then moves into the very different creatures involved in the movie. And I think it does do a good job of kind of lulling you into this sense of, okay, we had our weird moment, and we know bad things are going to happen, but it's this, you know, classic high school environment, and then we get the girls in the bed, and that hospital scene, when things change, dramatically.
Well, and it's very interesting that the time available to do this movie made for a very microcosm of where its presentation was. You see the subway to start, and then that's really kind of it. You know, everything then gravitates onto that base, and everything is all happening in there, in and amongst the people on that base.
Yep.
And it's like, okay, so you don't have, you know, these grand sweeping, we're going to have to, you know, we've killed this thing in Tokyo, but now there's a big one that's in Kyoto, and we're going to have to go there, and we're going to have to go over here. It's like, no, you know, there's things going on, and it sort of circles in around this very limited space where there's nowhere you can't go anywhere outside the fencing. And it's like, interesting, okay.
And the other part of this, of the characterization, is I was so glad that it's not. I had watched, was it Blood Plus, the odd episode anime? I actually watched that, and it really is completely different. And but to make the difference between that and this movie is that in the movie, Seiya acts her age. There's no tee-hee moments in here. There's no moe. There's none of that. It is not, you know, she doesn't want to talk to people. And it's very interesting. The first person who talks to her, who she winds up to be, and you know, and that person actually calls her weird. But anyway, but yeah, it was just, you know, and you're right. There was really. Even when you left the base, you still came back to it. Like when they walk by the pawn shop, when he says, "I can't get you a new blade right away," and she looks at the pawn shop as like, "Okay, if I need to go here, this is where I'm going to go." And then you cut away to the bars, you know, that service the base. But even then, you get the sense that you're really not that far from the base at all.
I think the pawn shop's across the street.
And the bars are really nearby because, you know, when the one at the bar goes, okay, time to set everything aflame, literally gets to the base really very quickly.
Totally. And it's one of the reasons why I think this works so well. It is this little microcosm, you know. It's like setting up your horror movie on a spaceship. No, you can't get out. You know,
There's nowhere else.
It's a very contained pressure cooker.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Plus the fact that you have all these innocent people, you know, all around, and also the fact that I think again kind of smart. It's a military base. You have all these explosives. You have gasoline. All of this chance for pandemonium and chaos, which kind of makes a lot of sense. Yeah, and then what I also find interesting is the balance and sort of comparison between normality and the supernatural in this, where it is very just kind of mundane, and then a horrible creature shows up versus fountains of blood, and it is horrific in a way that a lot of horror often doesn't get because it's jump scares or whatever. Right. And because you have that strong contrast, and I think also because the creatures in this are very, they're not simply a guy in a mask, right. They are very distinctively horrific, and I think that adds to it a lot, something that animation can do.
And the best creep factor for me in this movie was when the two girls were in the nurse's office. And the nurse is like getting together the medicine for the girl's supposed to be anemic, and just their lips are moving. They're talking to each other. And there's no sound. And there's no sound. You're like, and that's when you just kind of go. You're watching. You're like going, oh.
Yeah,
this ain't good.
I don't like this. I don't like this very much.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I like the nursing staff's. That lady is such a consummate professional that her diagnosis without any kind of real examination is the fact the girl's anemic.
Mm-hmm.
She's a bloody vampire. You know what I mean? It's like she has no blood in her. How about this? Unless it's your blood. No,
yeah, exactly.
I don't know.
And she's also, I think, a very effective character. In most horror movies, you need sort of the audience identification character, right? The normal person who's seeing this through their eyes.
Yeah.
Right.
And you have a nurse who is a professional, right? Like she's dealing with difficult things all the time, and having somebody like that react with such horror to these things, I think really helps to sell the those elements of it. And then having her dragged throughout the entire story, it's like worst day ever.
I felt bad for her because she's just like going. She had nowhere else to go. Honestly, she's on the base. She's down on the base, but literally every corner she turns, monster, someone being eaten. Yeah. This girl's saying just chopping things left and right, and explosions, and
the lady has a terrible sense of direction. She just always ends up in trouble. I like the way that they gave her the every person moment in the garage with the Jeeps.
Yeah,
where she's given the gun, and she sits down and has that moment where it's like, I'm so far out of my element.
Yeah.
This is so far beyond, here's this Japanese high school girl and she's fighting whatever these giant monsters are. It's probably better for me to I'm going to get killed anyway, so I might as well just put the gun to my head and do it.
Yeah.
It's like, wow, that's an every person moment, like facing your own mortality. It's like you can either go the quick way or you can go the horrible way.
Yeah.
What are you going to choose? What's your choice going to be in that situation?
Go to the temple or claws and teeth.
Yeah.
After she watched the nice guard guy, I was like, hey, where are you going, man? Like,
the way that they killed that guy off. I mean, saying a little bit before, you didn't just grab him from the tree. You reached down and grabbed under the guard is fat, and he reaches under the fat and pulls up by the fat and starts chomping on the guy. No one wants to die that way. No one does. I felt really
Which I think is why, that's why she has that very everyman moment there, where it's just like, not everybody's the hero in the film, and just running in there and be like, no, I know I'm powerless, but with the power of friendship, we can win. You know what I mean? Where most people would be faced with that kind of, I'm going to die, so I might as well do it how I want.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
And again, I think it's an effective use of horror where you don't make everybody Rambo.
Yeah.
You give that sense of humanity of, if you're in the situation, you may not react exactly that way, but you'd have those your knees would definitely knock at various points in this.
I mean, yeah, she didn't end up as a gibbering pile of goo. So, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
She had the wherewithal to put the gun to her head. So.
Exactly. And I think it's also interesting, again, getting back to pacing, how you have like that burst of violence in the beginning, and then you get these, bits of violence through. And again, only 45 minutes. And then you get to the warehouse scene. And it is this long sequence of this fight. Going back and forth and trying to contain it and all this kind of stuff. And it kind of turns it into an action movie for a little while. And it really changes up the pace in, I think, a really effective way of saying, oh, this isn't just going to be things that go bump in the night and then, sword slash. There are ways of kind of dealing with this. But then also you have the fact that whole sequence is very chaotic and destructive.
Yeah.
If you can't really do a sustained fight with these things because they will, just kind of destroy everything in the process.
They just wear you down. Yeah, they just wear you down.
Yeah.
Well, that's I when I realized how long the fight scene was going on for, I was just like, yeah, this is a lot. This is what Dragon Ball should have done.
Yes.
Wow.
It's still going on for like 9 episodes to power up for the spirit bomb. Why don't we just do this in like 5 minutes, please?
Yeah.
But no, it was, and the thing of it is that it was constant motion. It was either something in the frame is constantly moving, or the frame itself was actually constantly moving. There was no, it was very frenetic.
Yeah.
And I do love that moment when she takes a slash with the sword and it bends. Fake. Like, oh wow.
Yep.
That there goes the girl moment being like, oh damn.
Well, the best part about that scene is that they really set it up as a killing strike, and she's really going into it, and then it just bends on its back or front or whatever she hit it on, and it's just it's all crumpled. And I actually just went like, oh no, because you're just like you're expecting the thing to be cleaved, and it's just basically turns around and goes, oh, I get to eat you now.
Yeah.
And it's like, and no backup because as the bullets weren't doing anything to the things. So it's like, well, now you got your bent, crumpled piece of tinfoil. Like, you got nothing.
Yeah.
She's definitely strong and in better condition than the nurse to fight these things off, but hand to hand, no. No, that's not a winning fight.
No. And again, it's one of those things where, okay, where do you go from here? You've had this explosive fight in the warehouse, and I think it was really interesting that it ends with this, or it climaxes with this chase of a jet. This plane trying to take off and them going after it. It is one of those things where, on the one hand, it's absurd. On the other hand, it is this big climactic, showdown sort of a moment. And
which I didn't understand. The C-130 is not a fast aircraft. I mean, it's a giant ass lumbering cargo aircraft. Why in the hell is this thing that can fly not just fly off into the city? All it has to do is just like go treetop level and just kind of sail across the fence and then disappear in the seedy underground of the local area, and then they would be back to hunting them again. It's like, instead it tries to catch a ride on a transport plane. Like, okay. Yeah. I see you're wrapping the story up. Hey, we've only got a few minutes, guys. Let's get this thing done.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they were supposed to be hibernating, and that's something in the anime series that is a thing that they talk about, is that they do hibernate, but they try to hide. Now, in the anime, which is not really connected, it's a totally separate universe, totally separate thing. But in the anime series, a lot of it does take place in Vietnam. But it doesn't here. So I think the idea was that the C-130 was headed off to Japan, because at the end of the movie they say everything's moving to Japan, and so it was going to hitch a ride and do exactly that, hide, but do it in a totally different country.
Gotcha.
And from the jungle in a way like that. But the one thing that as I was watching the chase scene, which is pretty intense, I was like thinking to myself, like what if I was driving that Jeep and going that fast, going up behind a plane, going that fast, and having to hold the steering wheel, because all you have to do is take it just like that, and you're gonna flip that Jeep. I mean, that's just physics. Yeah. And it's not like you can just put on the brakes and stop, because then you're going to flip the damn thing forward. So for me, just watching it was just really tense, and the way that she wraps herself to the high bar of the Jeep, and then she does the one strike. And that's the other brilliant part about this that I really liked, was that it wasn't a big back and forth. It was just the one strike. She knew she had the one. You understood that there was only one hit on this one. Just one chance and one hit to get it right, and that's what she did. It was just the one strike, and it was done.
Yep.
And what I and so when they finally slowed it down, they turn around and they actually go back to the thing that's like just like dying on the tarmac. He gave it its blood. And I was just like, okay, I can kind of understand that you feel sorry for it or whatever. My thought would have been just like going, okay, you're dying here. Just let me just, just end it for you.
Yeah.
But
I was waiting for that blood dripping to be like the sort of indicator of now comes the interrogation. Like she drips her blood and binds it to her. It follows her commands, and now she starts asking questions like, "Who do you know who else is a vampire? Where are you guys based? Where were you trying to go on that plane?" And that's the thing. And it never goes there.
And I think this is a great example of how this is a different kind of horror movie. It's more about its themes. It's more about the symbolism than it is about the lore, if you will, of creating and then there's gonna be this thing. It's more about, I am that, basically. I am one of those things, not precisely, but I am a monster in my own way. And so I kind of have an affinity for them. Like I kind of get it that you are on the outsides of society and you cannot coexist. And it creates this interesting parallels between Saya and the creatures she hunts. And it's one of the reasons I like the fact that, you don't get a scene where the two FBI agents come in and say, "Well, as you know, Saya, 500 years ago, the point of
well, let's explain to you everything you already know,
exactly,
just so you know that you know."
Yeah.
Oh, okay, thanks.
This is just what's going on. What is Saya's backstory? What is all that kind of? Nope, we don't know. If you watch a live action movie, you might learn some of that stuff.
Better or for worse.
Exactly. Right. But and I whole other topic. Anyway, yeah. I think I really like the fact that this is one of those things where, again, you need your ambiguity tolerance. You need to be able to say, okay, this is just a little chapter in this person's life, and I'm just seeing this little moment, this little mission, and that's all that this is. But it packs an awful lot into it. It's 45 minutes. Gosh.
Well, it's great that how they deal with that with the nurse as the end of it, where she just she tells her story. This is the only problem I had with the actual production of the voice actor, of actress who did the voice. It was at the end. I know that she was trying to go for a tired, kind of downtrodden voice, but it just sounded really robotic to me for some reason. But anyway, but the point is that she was basically telling you as the viewer, going, okay, after all this happens, I've been connected with this person through this traumatic experience, and I know absolutely diddly squat about what the heck is going on here. Here's all I know is that this person showed up, this crazy stuff happened, these really horrifying beasts. I got to watch people die messily and badly, and at the end of it, everything just goes away, and I'm not getting it, and I don't understand it, but it's gone. And then they go, oh, you saw the person, this girl who helped you, did she look like this? And the only real clue you get about Saya is that photograph and the date on the photograph.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all you get. That's all you're gonna get.
Yeah. I don't think we see that. Yeah, there we go. Yeah. That's all we get. And I like that.
And conveniently labeled as well next to the date.
Exactly.
Like, so now what we suspect is what we thought.
Yeah.
Like,
and again, it's one of those things where I think you could have made it, I think you could have said nothing, in which case it might have felt a little frustrating. But I think when your title of your movie is Blood the Last Vampire, giving the audience that little bit of verification is that little, after all of these things, okay, yeah, I get it, we've connected all the dots, or we've connected those dots, I should say.
Right.
And I think it's just a wise move on an audience part, where, again, we didn't really need that per se, but it just helps give it a little bit of satisfaction.
Well, I'll say, again, labeling it with the word, all you had to do was put the date.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
And I mean, if you just the picture and the date alone would have been like
true.
That the same thing as putting the word next to it.
Yeah, you're right.
I mean, you would look at it and be like, wait a minute, she can't be a high school girl. Like, for what? No, she'd be like, no. Oh, I get it.
Yeah.
It's just, so I totally agree. That's like a little way to give you some extra to it, but then they also kind of poked you right in the eye, and be like, and just in case you didn't realize it, read next to the date.
Well, although the other thing is, this is all in English, so they're relying on their Japanese audience to be able to read that English word vampire. So maybe that was a little bit of an extra push for folks to know that. Although also, well, I don't know. I mean, the title card does say, literally, Blood the Last Vampire, but I'm not sure if that wasn't digitally added. That might be in my English version. I'm not sure if that's on the original Japanese version. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
But yeah, that is interesting. Yeah, it's an interesting film. There's a lot going on.
And for the added creep factor at the end, in case you weren't creeped out enough and you actually stayed and watched the actual credits with the music and the Vietnam rainy, blurry footage, and graves and things like that going on behind it, and you're just like, again, you're just kind of like going, I don't really like that. Something's gonna. Is there something behind me?
Funny, I don't remember Vietnam being about vampires.
Well, now we know.
Maybe I was wrong.
There we are. Yeah, and I think it's interesting. I mean, I just keep coming back to the fact that I remember watching this, some years ago, having heard about it and being like, okay, I'm gonna check this out. It's only 45 minutes. Like, all right, how much are they gonna give me? And they give you a lot. Like this packs a full horror experience into that, and also gives you more. I love when something sort of inspires fan fiction. When you're done and you're like, I want to go back and think about more things that might have happened in that universe, right? I want to kind of explore that world more. And this very much does that while still feeling like a satisfying little mini mission.
Well, it's nice that you get the action that you need to support and drive 45 minutes worth of content. Whereas if you had a 2-hour film, you probably would have about the same amount of action and a lot of filler. So, to some saving element to this, it's like, just cut out the treacle and let's go for the heart of the matter here. Just get this stuff neatly wrapped up in a short period of time.
I think you're absolutely right.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
And it's the kind of thing I think you can do, again, with an OVA, with the very specific elements of that, with the specifics of the otaku market, where you can just say, hey, Oshii's involved, cool stuff happening, buy our thing. And folks will buy their thing without having to say, okay, well, call up all the call up all the movie theaters, see if who's willing to run a 45-minute thing.
Well, didn't they release it actually online for free for like the first 24 hours?
Oh, did they? I didn't hear that.
Yeah. So to boost DVD sales for 24 hours, they allowed it to be downloaded or viewed, not downloaded, viewed.
In year 2000?
Wow.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And then that's what drove its sales, the DVD sales afterwards.
The 12 hours of buffering to get it down.
Yeah, right.
Exactly.
AOL, I hate you.
Yeah. Well,
this 56K modem is blazing fast.
I mean, it worked. According to Wikipedia, in its first week in North America, it sold more than 70,000 DVDs and 30,000 VHS tapes. Within its first month, it was Manga Entertainment's top-selling title in its history. And it appeared on the Video Business, Billboard, Video Store Magazine, and Entertainment Weekly list of top DVD sales. And then they said it was that. And there's also a limited theatrical release done in America, just in a few theaters here and there, just enough to give it going. To give you an idea, the entire film was released for free on the day it was released through a streaming broadcast. It was broadcast by more than 61,000 viewers.
Ooh.
The ones that had a 64K modem.
Yeah.
Because that's the thing.
Wow.
That was the audience back then.
No, Mom, you can't use the phone. I'm watching a movie.
With that, caller waiting interrupting my download. Now it's going to take me 48 hours to get 45 minutes. Son of a... I hate call waiting.
Yeah. But yeah, remarkable film, remarkable work. Since we have a little time, I do want to talk. I have seen the live action film. And I want to mention it because it's 2 hours long.
Is it a musical?
No.
Damn.
If you go into it looking for sort of something that expands on the story of like her backstory, and kind of builds more into that, I found it entertaining. The staff clearly knew what they were trying to get across, and did some kind of interesting, neat stuff with it. That said, it's very long. And it feels a little overdone. It feels like it's just trying to do too many things at once. It's trying to be very visually remarkable, but it does some cool things. There's an amazing long street fight scene with Saya using like wire work with a bunch of bad guys, and this very chaotic wuxia kind of fight scene. That's really cool.
Like Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon kind of floating around fight scene.
But not as floaty. More, punching street stars trying to punch her. She's kind of jumping out of the way. All that kind of stuff. It works surprisingly well, and it was one of those things where they're like, how can we take Hong Kong wire work into the kind of the world of Blood the Last Vampire and make those match up? I think it worked. But again, it's one of these very lengthy live action movies, and then it gets kind of weird at the end because it's more about where she comes from and all that stuff. So again, I enjoyed it for what it was. Don't go in expecting the greatest film ever, but it's interesting. So just FYI, if you want kind of that backstory. I have no experience with anything else in the Blood universe.
I'm not sure I've ever gone into a film ever in my life and expected it to be the greatest film ever.
Good, because apparently everyone else does. I don't know. Very odd.
I will say that when they say that Blood Plus series is a different universe, it really is.
Okay.
There's a Moe element. There's a brothers, two brothers who are related to Seiya that just not really. Their father happened to work with the network that David founded. You get a reference to David in the series. You don't really see him that much.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's where they talk a lot more about Vietnam. They talk a lot more about the hibernation and the need to find these out there, because apparently she herself actually goes to sleep periodically for like 30, 40 years at a time. And then when she wakes up, that's when the organization is almost like Alucard in Helsing. This organization has her, created her to be a weapon against these things. Okay. So when she wakes up, they are there for her and they provide support. And she has I don't want to say magical sword, but it is a specifically type-made sword. I remember now. She cuts her own blood. Like if she cuts her hand and the blood is on the blade, that's what kills the monsters.
Okay.
Okay.
So, but the problem with the series is actually the problem that you're talking about for if Blood, The Last Vampire, was 2 hours long. It's this much action, which is not bad, but the entire 50 episode series is like this in exposition and moe and hints of Yuri, and will her brother and she ever declare their love for each other and things like that. And after a while, by the time you get to the end of it, you're just like, just everyone die, please. Just everyone get on the boat
and the world ends.
Yeah. So what I would definitely say is don't worry about the series.
Okay.
I haven't seen Blood Sea, but
I don't think Blood Sea
Blood Plus
related. I think
is it Blood Sea not?
No, you're right. Blood Sea is related.
My anime list listed it as related.
Yeah,
I was like,
yeah.
It is. It is technically part of the franchise, but it's listed on Wikipedia as just kind of inspired by more than related or more the sequel or anything. Interesting. It
happens in a different city on the other side of the planet.
There we go.
Right.
With
totally
clamp
makes sense now.
Because why not? Because if something's successful, guess what happens? We get more of that thing.
Yeah. Can you say isekai?
Yeah. Exactly. So that is that's Blood the Last Vampire. Any other thoughts you guys wanted to bring to the table?
It's worth the watch.
It's a good Halloween film.
Good Halloween film. Yeah. And that's the other part. Actually, that's a good point. Is that you don't have to be an anime fan to watch this thing.
True.
If you enjoy Halloween, if you enjoy horror, watch this. It's right up your alley.
It doesn't look like anime much at all.
No. Yeah.
I was gonna say, and it's not so jump scary that people of weak constitution are gonna be like, oh, I can't see it. It's just too frightening. It's like, no, it's got a good blend of like, oh wow, that's really screwed up, and wow, that's kind of there's a lot going on there, but it's not really jump scary.
And what I appreciate is that the gore is quick, so that when you do have the fountains of blood and so forth, it you're not holding on something as it's flailing around and things are flying everywhere, right?
Right.
Something gets killed and it's out of there pretty quickly, so you get the reaction.
Yeah, someone's not trying to grab their intestines and shove them back and screaming. It's like, not that.
Yeah, not a Romero film, in other words.
Yeah, the worst you get is the poor American Marine who's like basically folded in half.
The door jam.
The door jam. Yeah.
But even then, literally they took the effort to make him turned away from the viewer. So he's facing the door. So all you see is like, oh my gosh, that's horrible. But you're not looking him in the eyes. You're not, you don't see any. His disemboweled body.
I'll never forget the first time I watched the movie Halloween. I must have watched some censored version, because when she goes into the bedroom and like lies down and then the closet door opens, it's all black. Like you can't see what's in there, and she sees it and screams and runs out of the room, and it's like an empty closet. And I'm like,
there was a censored version?
I don't know. Nothing else was censored about it. I don't know what was going on. Maybe it was just the levels were bad in that version. I don't know. But it's just like awesome. So at least at least you Yeah, you're getting all that in your version. But yeah.
Where did all those clothes I just bought go?
So yeah, great little Halloween flick for you is Blood the Last Vampire. Cool. We're gonna take a quick momentary break to reset and talk about anime in the news. So we'll be back in just a few minutes. Hold that down. What on earth is holding it down? And hello, everyone. There was our audio issue for the night. Normally I do the opening credit sequence, but tonight I'm just moving right in because we have a lot to talk about this Saturday night. It is October 17th. It is the new fall season. We've got a lot on the docket, but I am joined tonight, as usual, by John and Steve. Welcome, everyone. How has your week been?
So good so far, I think. I'm still here, and I still have a pulse.
Good, good.
Good.
I was just gonna say I'm still waking up in the morning, so that's always good.
Exactly.
Got a chance to watch some anime. I actually watched more anime than I thought I would this week, especially in a concentrated amount of time.
Yeah, you guys went the Hercules route for the season openers.
Yeah.
Like, holy.
Yeah, Steve and I spent 9 hours straight watching anime today. All of the first episodes that we could catch. There are a few that we missed, I know, but that is just the life of watching anime these days. There's just too much.
I have accepted the fact that I've ruined one of my corneas, and I have a totally blind in one eye at this point. I'll get better. I'll be fine. I'll be fine.
Wait a minute! Didn't they, at the beginning of your guys' session, wasn't there a little placard that came up and said, "Please stay at least 2 feet away from the TV screen"? Oh,
the Pokemon
damn,
thing again. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Andrew Jackson's asking me in the chat room, best Gundam series. That's a good question.
All of them.
War in the pocket. War in the pocket.
Original Gundam.
See, I will argue that well, I don't know. I normally recommend War in the Pocket for folks who have had some exposure to Gundam. I think it works best if you're more familiar with the Gundam universe first.
That is true.
But if you do, then yeah, it's a high watermark. So it's not like necessarily the first Gundam, but best Gundam series. Other words, yeah, 8th MS Team is good.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
It's and 8th MS Team is like it hits all the boxes, ticks all the boxes, which has the advantage. Like it has all the different pieces you'd want. But yeah, I can't really narrow it down to a single best. I have an undying love for Gundam Wing, but that is a freaking weird series.
Yeah, it's totally different.
So I can't.
How about the Hello Kitty Gundam crossover? Isn't
Clearly
that the best
best
one ever?
Gundam. Clearly, no question.
Oh my god, I want one of those. Take my money. All right.
Well, Steve, I heard about it recently. It's just really very, very new. They call it, I believe, the interweb or netweave or something. Maybe the internet. Maybe it's the internet. Maybe that's the thing that you could find that thing.
Credit card number, maybe?
I believe, or a money order.
I see. Yes.
Ooh.
I think it's made of tubes.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Could be tubes.
All right. Duly noted. Thank you.
Yeah.
And that's at least what Amazon's trying to make it like, so that you order it, and then 10 seconds later, there's the package. Like,
yeah, they're installing vacuum tubes in my building, like the ones from like yep.
Like the old bank, the drive-up banking windows. You put in the tube, down it goes. Woo, cool.
It is. Didn't they have those in the Metropolis, like the original 1933 film?
They did, yeah.
Yeah, they use those tubes for stuff. It's really cool. So let's see here. Yes, it has been a thing. What's alternate universe? Fair, nothing wrong. Yeah, Wing is freaking strange, but I love it, and that's just the way it is. It is kind of indescribably weird. I remember watching the first episode of that with a friend, and just him kind of bursting out laughing at moments, enjoying it, but just like, what? Like, why did that character do that thing for that person? It will all be explained. It might not make sense, but it'll all be explained eventually.
But you were entertained.
Yes.
You were entertained.
Were we not entertained? It also doesn't help when your writing staff leaves halfway through the show. That causes issues.
That's just an inconvenience.
It's true.
If anything, that's a budget savings. Think of how much more money they made.
Right. Exactly. More shows should do that. Wait, no.
Modern problems require modern solutions.
Exactly. So as we mentioned, it is October. It is time for the new fall season. And so, what do you guys think? Exactly. Should we do the news, or should we talk about the shows of the season first? What do you think we should lead with?
There's 9 hours of shows to discuss, so
That's true.
I would say news probably be the more condensed and very finite thing to talk about versus all of the new shows that'll probably take off like an hour. Or more.
That is fair. Right. So let's get to the news. There are a few things to talk about this week, and it's fun. Do you hear that? And welcome back to the latest anime news for the week ending October 17th, 2020. Let's get right into it. The slice of life horror manga Shadow House released its 6th compiled volume this week and announced that a television anime adaptation is in the works. It was also revealed that the October 29th issue of Weekly Young Jump will publish a teaser visual for the new anime, if you're curious. This was created by two-person team Somato, and the story takes place in a large Western-style mansion, as all creepy stories should, where a family of aristocratic, faceless shadow people live there. It follows their attendants, who are living dolls modeled after the family members, who are both servants and stand-in faces for their masters. The manga follows the daily lives of these characters and gradually reveals the mysteries and horrors they hold. It launched in Weekly Young Jump back in 2018. I gotta say, what more appropriate news story for the season than that concept? Ugh.
Yeah, it's pretty creepy.
Creepy
like
dolls. Yeah. Oh.
Creepy dolls. Mm-hmm. I can see creepy dolls with a faceless attendant. They're going, I have a story to show you, such sights to show you.
Mitarashai, Yamishibai no jikan da yo.
And it sounds like a premise that could kind of go in a lot of places, a lot of different stories they could tell with that. So definitely looking forward to seeing what goes on with that.
Wonder how long the teaser is going to be.
Yeah,
like 5-minute teaser or like literally 30 seconds.
Well, this is in the magazine, so I think it's just going to be a teaser visual.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
I suspect.
Dang, I was hoping for like a teaser, a little bit of like get a flavor for it. Be like, is this something I'm going to go for? Or is this going to be something too weird for me?
So hopefully, I'm sure there are scans of it online of the manga, so we can get a feel of that too. So we will see. Not the only new anime announced this week. From slice of life to horror, from some slice of life horror to horror turned slice of life, it was announced this week that Masaya Hokozano's Kichikujima manga is getting a comedy short anime spin-off titled Kaoru's Precious Thing. The 1-minute episodes will premiere weekly starting on November 18th. The original manga tells the story of a group of students trapped on a deserted island with a brutal killer. The spin-off, however, will put the characters in relaxing slice of life situations. We were talking about this the other day, a little bit earlier, that I think, if something's popular, what happens? We get more of it. And I think that's clearly the message here is that, okay, slice of life thing? Sure. Let's see how that works.
Was that Charles Manson there on the pig? And the pig is supposed to be pigs from the Tate LaBianca murders and Helter Skelter? Is that what I'm supposed to get out of that image?
I'm sure. Yeah,
so it's titled Kaoru's Precious Thing?
Kaoru's Precious Thing.
And is it supposed to be kind of a joke to have a horror slasher anime do a slice of life?
I'm sure, yeah.
Like, okay. Haha. Brilliant of you people. Brilliant.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. From anime back to manga, 3 established creators announced this week they're preparing new manga, a potential interest to our viewers. First up, this week's issue of Weekly Shonen Magazine announced that Fujino Omori, writer of the ever-popular Is It Wrong to Try to Pick Up Girls in a Dungeon, will launch a new dungeon fantasy manga starting in December titled The Wistoria of Staves and Swords. The manga will be serialized in Kodansha's Besatsu Shonen magazine with art by Toshi Aoi. Aoi posted teaser illustrations on Twitter after the announcements seen on screen now. This week's issue of Shueisha's Besatsu Margaret magazine also announced 2 upcoming manga. First, a new short manga series from My Love Story and Aozora Yell's Kawahara. The manga will be titled Much Ado About Nothing, a reference, of course, to the Shakespeare play of the same name, and will also debut in December. Kawahara's previous manga, Where's My Lovely Sweetheart, launched back in 2016 and just ended. A new manga from Io Sakisaka, creator of Blue Spring Ride and Love Me Not. This new series doesn't have a title announced yet, but is set to debut sometime in early spring of next year. So it's just always good to see new manga on the horizon. I don't know if you guys.
Well, it's also new manga from series that the animes I adored.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah. So it's like Don Machi, My Love Story. Oh gosh, what was the other one? Blue Spring Ride. It's like, these were good shows. So hopefully this will then now get more of that franchise going along. So
yeah,
let's see.
Yeah, always good to see some more stuff going.
Yeah.
Also some more manga news this week. Several manga magazines announced upcoming one-shots this week, along with the typical standalone stories. Weekly Shonen Magazine revealed this week that 5 manga authors will all be publishing one-shots themed around isekai versions of their own original manga. The first of the one-shots was published this week from Reiji Miyajima's Rent a Girlfriend, with the excellent title Reincarnate a Girlfriend. The other one-shots will debut in the magazine one at a time. The next one based on Senryu Girl. After that will be Domestic Girlfriend, Boarding School Juliet, and finally Hitman. It'll be interesting to see how their creators translate these characters in an isekai setting, and also to wonder what other series might get isekai'd, because, my goodness, we can't go 3 days without a new isekai thing. Not that I'm complaining, but isekai is definitely still the hot thing.
I was just going to say that there's never enough isekai.
Yeah.
Apparently not.
Yeah. Reincarnate a girlfriend
as much as you can. But however, I do like the title Reincarnate a Girlfriend.
I love it. It's great.
That sounds kind of interesting.
So let me ask you all, what series would you like to see an isekai? Would you like to see their characters isekai'd? Change and move to a different world or dimension or reality? Because I know I want to see Goku in the modern world. I want to see Goku in 20th century New York City.
Wow. So many F-bombs in that one.
Wow.
He's going to get so many F-bombs. And he's gonna fight a pizza rat? I mean... Oh my god, Goku in New York.
Yeah, just like so many isekais as it is, it would be like, okay, I guess I'd have to think of all the isekais I like and turn it into a regular slice of life. In which case, I think most of them would be really boring if there wasn't like some kind of sword fighting and magic. It's like, okay, now you don't have your smartphone in another world. You're just in class and you're trying to decide whether you should join the soft tennis club or just go home. Like, okay, I have watched those shows too, and they don't really rate all that great. So.
Yeah. Actually, come to that, that's a good idea. I think sports characters would do well in an isekai series, right? Because they're always the ones that are, pushing forward and always getting better. So I think just isekai series, it's natural, right? They'll be fine. You need like I don't know. It's weird. You need a character that's not particularly remarkable, but that is also the trope of isekai. So I don't know quite how you twist that around. It's odd.
Ashita no Joe in Dead Space.
There we go. I'm all for that.
Just drag that out of there.
Yeah, exactly. Now a follow-up to a news story from previously. It was previously announced the first new Haruhi Suzumiya novel in 9.5 years will debut on November 25th, and the English version will release digitally on that day as well. But a release date for the translated print version was still unknown. This week brings us news that international fans can now start planning their trip to the bookstore. Yen Press will release the print version of The Intuition of Haruhi Suzumiya in print in June of 2021. So we have a little ways to wait on that one. The company also revealed they'll be re-releasing all the Haruhi Suzumiya light novels under their Yen On imprint starting in January, releasing 2 a month through May. These will be paperback volumes featuring the original Japanese cover art from illustrator Noisy Ito, whereas the original releases were sort of minimalistic covers to be a little more simplified and a little more less manga-y, anime-y in the bookstores. So yes, print version coming quite a while after digital release.
8 months.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did we think this is going to be a trend?
Well, at least it's going to give me time to watch it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm probably like the last human anime fan to watch this series, but
You've not seen any of it? No Haruhi at all.
I've only seen clips. I've only
Okay.
seen clips, no full episodes. Most of what I've seen comes from AMVs.
You're in for a treat.
Wow.
Yep.
Yeah.
You could keep your status and never watch it and be the last human being on Earth who's never seen anything Haruhi, like full Haruhi. Come on.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Broadcast order. That's all I gotta say. But yeah, I wonder though if, I mean, it kind of makes sense to me if you have the digital files, setting up for print takes time.
Yeah.
Making all those processes take time, so just release it digitally, and then whenever you're ready for it physically, it would really speed up release dates. It kind of makes sense.
Isn't the miracle of the digital age? Doesn't that make the print process at least somewhat faster? You know what I mean? You're not having to type, physically moving typeset around on big sheet boards and printing like Ben Franklin.
Yeah.
So.
But I mean, I think that went out in the 80s, right? So.
I was gonna say, so now it should be, 8 months to get to a physical print. Shouldn't it be something like a month or two just to, get it? I don't even know what the printing software must look like to get it to the actual book phase.
Well, the thing is not even that. It is all of the physical processes of reserving space on the printing machines. Getting all of that stuff done. You have
to schedule them. You have to
trying to get it in the queue.
Yeah,
get in the queue and then getting the templates to run it onto the actual rollers.
And from what I understand, the problem is there are fewer and fewer physical book publishers these days, in the sense of that own the physical machines. So it's just harder, and you're on a longer queue and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, because you're right. I think the digital process makes that you kind of have the file, you flow it onto 200 pages, and you're done.
Yeah,
pretty much.
But you need somebody who's like, I've got like 3,000 other books right before you. So back when there was newspapers in every town, we had printing options.
Exactly.
And now there's like 5 of us who do this in the entire country.
I wonder how cheap it would be to buy a printing press now. I wonder if those are cheap now. Because everyone's getting rid of them.
As in, like, the things that are the size of an entire house?
Yeah. I'm not talking $100. Right? But I'm saying,
I was gonna say cheap by like what, $1 million versus like 50? Yeah, I guess.
You get
bargain.
If you get a small print like an Okidata 80, it'll be about $2,000 or $3,000. And
what small mean? That size of a car garage or what?
Small is about 400 pounds. It's going to be about, kind of hard to gauge because we're doing it on video, but it's basically something like that's going to be about
3 foot wide,
3.5 to 4 feet wide. It's going to be about 4 feet tall. And it has multiple.
Wow.
I used to work in a print shop. And it has multiple rollers, but it's not just the press itself. You have to print the template to put on the rollers to print it out.
I mean, I thought you said you worked at Kinko's.
Not Kinko's.
Hey.
The now defunct Anderson Printing is where I used to work. Many years ago. And I'm just getting the ink out of my...
Hence our discussion about now the number of people who can print things.
Yep.
Now defunct.
Wow. I'm looking on eBay now for printing presses. Wow. There is a 1650, that's the model number, XE multi-graphics printing press for only $1,000, but it looks like it is being sold as is. It's basically, it exists. We have no idea the condition of it.
By the way, it's like a Jaguar. You have to have your own mechanic. You have to buy the mechanic along with it.
Yeah. So the printing press, the bonus is it comes with its own family of possums that lives inside.
Exactly. Yeah.
So it's a win-win for everybody.
Right. Totally. That would be kind of cool. Walking to somebody's house. Oh yeah, printing press.
Walk into their house, be like the block away from their house where you just hear this god-awful noise. What's that sound? Oh, it's an industrial printing press. You like it? Giant diesel generator for it's not loud at all.
Just to get off topic for a second, there's a scene in Dr. Strangelove where I think it's Peter Sellers is in a big computer room, and he's standing next to some machine that's running and talking to somebody else. And it's one of the kind of goofs of the movie, because if that machine is running, it is loud enough you cannot talk. It is just incredibly loud. So, okay, they clearly dubbed that in or whatever.
Yeah.
Just one of those little things about movie magic. Speaking of movie magic and technology, masks have certainly become an integral part of our daily lives this year. But wearing a mask all the time does make it difficult to express your emotions properly through this face thing. Fortunately, the Hirata Takagawa lab is developing a product that could assist with that, and with quite a few other applications, at least according to its creators. The E2 Mask Z, or Z, uses facial scanners and AI to read its viewers' facial expressions and then portrays them on the external screen through a cute anime girl, or presumably whatever avatar you want, but who wouldn't want a cute anime girl, with the goal to, quote, support augmented face-to-face communication in real environments, end quote, rather than just online. As described by the official site, and I quote, the thin wearable facial expression recognition system, I think thin is relative here, was implemented with photoreflective sensor arrays, which can measure facial expressions at 40 feature points distributed across an entire face. The trained model achieved an average accuracy of 79% when identifying the facial expressions of multiple users. User experiments indicated that the proposed thin digital full face mask display allows the wearer to control the facial expression of the avatar with a fast response rate and create a positive sense of self-agency and self-ownership toward the augmented avatar face, end quote. The space below the screen is made of see-through cloth, so the contraption is theoretically safe to wear while out and about. The developers expressed a number of different functions the mask could have, including helping calm children who are looking up at the dentist. Yeah. Being worn by people at parties or actors in theatrical plays, or even folks in job interviews. Hopefully the design will be a bit more streamlined before that official release. Because, yeah! Go into a job interview wearing that.
I'm gonna get Renge from Non Non Buri, and I'm gonna go in there. Yes, I'm a professional, blah, 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 blah. They're going to be like, why do you have a little tiny, 10-year-old girl on your face mask?
Technology!
I just want one to wear at Thanksgiving dinner just to throw everybody off.
It'd
be even better if you could find somebody to wear it for you.
Yeah, there we go.
And they're like, hey, Steve, how you doing? What's up? And the whole thing's doing its thing. And then you walk in through the door and be like, who the hell's that?
There's your
Oh, no. I want one. It's stupid as all hell.
Yeah.
I want one. And I know it's probably going to be like $1,000, but Yep. That'd be just really cool because I'd put Renge on there and just go out and have Renge or Kana from Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid and just have Kana talking and be like,
yep.
Throw people off, with my actually, I'll just pitch my voice lower with her face on it.
me.
Hi, thanks for having me for the interview today. I'm looking forward to working as a lawyer for your firm. Yes, thank you very much.
My specialties are environmental law and
I want to see
child custody cases. Okay.
I want to see the child that is calmed looking up at a dentist with one of these masks on.
And then watch them as they scream at the TV when the anime comes on later and go, son, why are you screaming at the TV?
Exactly.
The Gundam hurt me. What? The Gundam? What?
What are you talking about? It shot me in the mouth. What are you saying?
Now, kids, don't worry. A professional in a Gundam talking mask is still a professional.
There we are.
You're lying.
It's a Zaku!
Accidentally start streaming Parasite the maximum on it, popping open, eating things. You're like, doctor, don't do that. What? Oh, streaming the wrong thing. I'm sorry. Legend of the Overfiend?
No. Also this week, Kodansha Comics announced it will begin releasing its Simulpub manga on the Comixology service starting this month. New chapters will release on Comixology the same day as they release on Kodansha's other partner manga services. That's pretty quick. In addition, subscribers to Comixology Unlimited can now read more manga from Kodansha Comics without any additional cost. Kodansha also releases its Simulpub manga titles on Crunchyroll, Bookwalker, and Amazon Kindle, although not every title is available through Crunchyroll or Bookwalker. Prolific composer Kyohei Tsutsumi has passed away at 80 years old. As well as writing songs for rock bands and idols, Tsutsumi composed theme songs for a number of anime, including the theme for the longest-running animated series of all time, says Ai-san. He also composed theme songs for anime such as Castle in the Sky, Heaven's Lost Property, and Tokyo Pig, and the opening and ending theme songs for the Transformers TV anime series. Finally, manga creator Izumi Matsumoto, creator of Kimagure Orange Road, also passed away recently at only 61 years old. He had been suffering from illness in the spine and cerebral fluid for many years, having to take several long breaks from working, but never giving up his desire to continue creating manga. He published the Kimagure Orange Road manga from 84 through 87, which inspired a TV series, 2 anime films, and various anime videos. Rest in peace.
Indeed.
Yeah. Always sad to see folks pass and move along, but worth commemorating and celebrating their accomplishments.
The joy that they have brought us all in our fandom for all these years.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's also good to see the Kodansha Comics on more platforms. You know, the fear always with publishing is that you get all these concentrated platforms, and it's nice seeing them available in lots of different places. So, good to see.
Well, the more available it is, the more likely that anime watchers like myself will actually look at a manga.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I thought about one of these days, especially with like Comixology Unlimited, where it's a subscription service, of going on, subscribing to it, and then going, okay, I'm gonna spend an afternoon reading like the first issue of all of these anime I've seen to get a sense of how different the manga is from the anime. Just binge a whole bunch of stuff to get a sense of that.
Yeah. 10 years later, Brent finally emerges from his home. Long fingernails, a long beard.
Or then you'll turn into somebody like me who goes to, when we have conventions again, but was going to conventions and going to the, I get 10 for $5, and you're just going through the bins and
pawing through.
Oh yeah.
Pawing through it. And actually, that's a plus side for digital publishing because I only have so much square footage in this apartment. I don't think I can put anything else in here.
Yep.
So
I hear that. I forget who, Ed Sizemore, was it? Reading an article by a guy who got into manga very early and said he remembers being frustrated by the point when he could no longer buy all the manga. Because when he got started in, he got started early enough that they would release, 2 volumes a week. So he would just buy those, and it obviously accelerated, but he was just buying all the manga that was released. And it got to the point where there was just too many to keep up with.
Was he reading all of them, or just like buying them and then sort
pretty
of
much
on
all
a
of them?
slow read?
No, he was reading all of them.
Wow.
Yeah,
I could see that. You start buying one, you're like, oh, I'm getting all the new releases January 1.
Yeah.
And then by like February 1, I made it through 50% of them. And now February 1, all the new releases.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Yeah, and again, this was a time when, the manga publishers would in total publish 2 new volumes every week on average. So you just buy those, and the next week there were 2 or 3 other things, and you just kind of go through it that way. And then,
thank God for the library.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like that.
Thank God for the library, because that's actually where I read. Was it Buddha and Phoenix
and One Piece?
Yeah.
Series.
Oh, yeah, and Buddha and Phoenix you cannot find anymore.
Not even gonna try.
Yeah. Both Buddha and Phoenix, those
Buddha's
are
actually really
$100, $200 a volume now. Like they're gone.
Yeah.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I literally.
They're good, though. They're very, very good.
I had to buy several volumes of Phoenix digitally because I could not find the physical volumes for any kind of reasonable price, and my library didn't have them. So, yeah.
Manga Hunter tips: if you want your actual physical one, if you don't mind there being a library sticker on it, libraries every year nationwide sales, and they do not pay attention to the value of mangas. So you can actually find some gems that they will sell. And when I say sell, I'm talking 25 cents, 50 cents.
Wow.
Yeah.
That kind of prices. Kinds of things, and that's how I have some of the manga that I have is through that, and they just don't realize.
Yeah,
they literally just don't realize.
One of my
that's,
go ahead.
I was just gonna say that's how I got my Ghost in the Shell all Japanese, not realizing that it was all in Japanese, and getting going. The Ghost in the Shell manga, the original manga, not the reproductions.
Yep.
The actual original thing, and I'm like, can't read a damn thing. Artwork is awesome, but can't read a damn thing.
That's why you learn Japanese, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. A library I used to live.
Konnichiwa.
Yeah. Library used to live nearby. They had a small convention that they put on, for they're basically a manga club. And at that convention, they took one of the conference rooms and they piled a bunch of manga on there. And that was the free manga room. You just go in and just take whatever manga you wanted.
Oh, it wasn't a free reading; it was a free taking.
Free taking. Yeah.
I've seen that before. Here in Baltimore, at the Pratt, but I've seen that before. Yeah.
Wow.
They have to. Again, it's books, so there's only so much space.
Yep.
And they don't really attach any value to the manga, so they just put it out there.
Yep. Sort by number of checkouts. Whatever's on the bottom of the list, the top, the bottom 40% or 20% or whatever, those go away.
Wow.
And I got some fun. I have a volume of Naruto in Japanese. I don't know if I still have it. Yeah, I do, right over there, that I got from that. So I was like, heck, sure.
Wow.
It's free. But yeah. Speaking of keeping up with what's going on,
yes,
we watched a lot of anime today. We're watching a lot of anime this week. It is the new fall season, and so we're going to talk about the new fall season. Sadly, I do not have the lower thirds set up for this. We're just going to talk. We're going to go through it. Because there's a lot of new anime this fall, that's the first thing I want to talk about. I was deathly afraid with COVID that summer and fall would just be empty. But they managed to keep up with it. And I was just,
Yeah, like I was saying earlier, I actually got on the Fun Animation website and did the trial there, and I was expecting like about 3 or 4 titles, honestly, that I would be interested in. I expected there to be about like maybe 10 titles total, but between Crunchyroll and Funimation, it was just like, well, I mean, how many hours did they rent?
I spent 9 hours watching anime.
9.
Didn't get through all of it. So yeah, it's pretty amazing. So we're gonna go through in more or less random order. This is just kind of what showed up on Crunchyroll and Funimation and so forth and so on. And we're gonna start with Dogeza. I tried asking while kowtowing, which I watched. I see John cringing.
I read the description of it. It's one of the ones I was waiting to see what you guys would say. I'm like,
So Steve, I watched this before you came on. Have you seen this one?
Remind me, what so many today?
It is literally, it's 3 minutes. It's an image of a girl. The main character, or the voice, is asking to see her topless over and over again.
No, I did not see this.
That's what it is. He is asking to see her boobs.
It's the topless version to the one where you ask the girl to show you her pantsu.
Right. And so he just does that and does that and does that over and over. And there's a narrator sort of commenting on this overall.
No, I missed that one.
Yeah.
The girls do the same thing where at first they're like, oh, hey, how are you? And then like the request goes out. Then they're like, oh, you're a horrible pig. Oh, I hate you. That kind of thing.
Basically, yeah.
Okay, so it's the top version of the other series that was like this.
It actually starts with a request, as I recall, and then you just keep on asking and asking and asking, and eventually she does it. Oddly, very cheap animation. It's like just basically a static image and lip flaps and maybe a little bit of nervousness of hands, that kind of stuff. It is clear what it is. It's clear what it's trying to be. Cute girl, like nice drawing, but you know what you're in for. Moving on to Burn the Witch, the new anime series based on the manga by Tite Kubo of Bleach. I have kind of mixed feelings about this one.
Do I? Yeah.
Because I love the
animation.
Yeah, I love the visuals. I love the animation. I don't like any of the characters.
There's a lot to work on that. So
yeah,
it reminded me very vaguely of God of High School. Some of the way that the lining of the characters work.
Yeah.
I'm curious to see where it's going because I didn't have a particular love. I didn't bounce off of the series, but I didn't have a particular great love for anything going on. But I was interested enough that I'd like to see where it's going to go.
Agreed.
Yeah, I thought I really liked the animation. It reminded me of Fully Cooley, which is one of my favorite animes of all time. The first season,
right, the original Fully Cooley.
The original Fully Cooley. And I liked it. I liked the premise of it was I was okay with. It just felt like what was it, like Hogwarts and something else. But anyway, the thing that it didn't bother me. I was just kind of like going, "Is this how we're gonna like go throughout this? Where they make the guy lick the phone?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
So here's this girl. Here's this dark-haired girl who's looking. She's very in control of everything. And there's this guy who's like suddenly nervous, and he gets down on his knees, and she holds the phone like very imperiously. And I'm like going, "This is." I thought that. Wait a minute. We are on a.
Yeah, and she doesn't hold the phone up here.
Yeah.
It's very suggestive, and I was just like going. I was like, okay, are we really going to go there? The action was fine.
We are.
but just like Brian said, I really didn't care about. I didn't hate any of the characters. At all. But I just didn't care about them. I just didn't really. None of them just grabbed me. Like the guy who's walking his dog dragon out.
Yeah.
And he's flying around. I'm just like going, okay, so you're a moron.
Yeah.
And the other girl is just kind of like the level-headed one. And then the blonde who I'm guessing in not reverse London, because that's the other part of it. It's like here's London, and then here's reverse London. And then in real London, I'm guessing she's an idol of some sort because she's
model.
Yeah, she's part of a band or singing group thing. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm just kind of like, I don't really care about that.
They kind of make the Star Wars Episode 3 mistake, where Episodes 1 and 2 establish the fact that Obi-Wan and Anakin are like going to start on this journey together, and then we leap to the point where they hate each other or they're fed up with each other, and we don't get the middle where we actually see their relationship. We jump into these characters sniping at each other the entire episode, and I would have liked to have seen something else to make me understand why I should care about these characters. And I think it kind of starts in an awkward place for kind of getting me into the characters. But like I said, everything else about it was interesting, right?
Well, and the thing I just the mechanics of the thing I don't understand is it was on Crunchyroll, and there's 3 episodes just like off the bat, right? And that's it. I mean, when I went, and went to my anime list and clicked it off, and said, I've watched this, and what are going to be the next episodes? It's just listed as a 3-episode OVA. That's it. So what you get is all you get. That I can't imagine that's right, because you just dropped into this and it's not even enough of a story really like blood. You've got a little slice and that gives you enough to work with for that story. There's clearly the entry character backgrounds and it doesn't stop the story. It's like, and there's going to be more.
So
and
the reason for that is because the original manga series is being produced in chunks. So he did, I think, 4 chapters, and then he called that season 1 and stopped. And then they're gonna do a second season of the manga and presumably an anime of that. And so they're very deliberately not doing a long form thing, probably because if Bleach, if there is a strongest complaint about Bleach, it's that it went on too long and kind of meandered and really suffered from the episodic nature. Yeah. So I think they're trying to avoid that as much as possible with this one, for better or worse. But
I mean, I thought it was decent for the 3 episodes I watched. I thought it was decent enough. I was hoping it was going to be more. So there we go.
That's what we get. Moving on to Dragon Quest: The Adventure of Dai. If you have any 8-year-old boys in your family, this is the one to point them to. It is a fun adventure story about a young boy living with monsters and having his adventures and starting his adventures and adventure stuff with adventure. It's
adventurous.
Exactly, it is very adventurous.
It's an adventurous adventure, so it's an adventure to watch this adventure.
Yeah.
Was the adventure adventurously interesting enough for you adventurers? Adventuring into watching it?
I don't know. It's kind of an adventure. Yeah. The thing is,
because I saw the cover title picture and I'm like, hot no. Not happening.
It's very inoffensive in the sense that you watch it and it's just it's a fun action story. The kid's a noble young boy who's going to go out and do the right thing, and all that kind of stuff. And when bad guys show up, it's pretty darn clear they're the bad guys. It's all of those things. But everything about pretty much. But everything about it is nicely produced, right? There's clearly effort behind it. There's clearly all that stuff. So it's cute. It's fun. Adventure.
If you have a niece, a nephew, son or daughter that you're trying to wing off of Paw Patrol or some other thing that kids are watching these days, this is actually, and I'm kind of being serious, this is, actually a pretty good thing to show them. I found it entertaining. I mean, it's not something that obviously I'm going to be like, oh, this is my the anime. I gotta watch it scene for scene, episode for episode. But it's very entertaining. You're not gonna get bored with it very easily, and some of it's gonna be amusing. Like the boy's grandfather who adopted him is basically what I think is just a walking, talking callus. But it's funny and it's interesting. But it is nonstop and it's great for a kid, but it is the most adventure time thing that I've seen in a very long time.
Yeah.
So you're not, you don't need it. It's almost like a shot of Ritalin in the anime industry. It's just like going, oh, you're trying to through anime? Here, watch it die. Here you go.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. Then moving on to another short one, Grand Blues. These are short based on a 4-koma manga set in the Grand Blue fantasy universe, but just comedic shorts. I laughed, which is kind of the point. It has this very oddball ending for the short. It's just fantasy characters roaming around, and then there's a punchline basically. It was cute. It was fun. It was again very much meant to be sort of absurdist comedy in the 4-koma style. I'd say if that appeals to you, try episode 1. You'll probably that will make it probably very clear whether this is going to be for you or not. That kind of thing.
Yeah, I Grand Blue Fantasy I watched, and I had a lot of hope that what I was watching was eventually going to end up being like better than what I found it to be. So when I saw that they did this, it's like, okay, I like Isekai Quartet.
Okay.
I thought Isekai Quartet was great, using all the chibi characters. They're doing their thing, and that's awesome. It brings in a ton of characters from a ton of different series, very well put together, very amusing. And then I saw this came up, and I'm like, no, nope.
Yeah.
So unless you guys are like, this is the greatest thing in the universe, no.
Well, it's meant to be filler, so
yeah, definitely. Moving on to I'm Standing on 1 Million Lives, one of the isekai series from this time.
It made me laugh.
It's interesting. I like the sort of funny idea behind it. The idea of the main character shows up and his ability, spoiler alert, is not to be the great hero of the world.
But it's rare.
It's rare.
It's rare.
Ability
Exactly.
is very, very rare.
Learn his ability. You go, how is that rare in this world? How? What? What?
Well, one of the characters comments on it.
It's kind of a good point though. It's like you think about every other isekai, somebody goes in and they're rare. Like make my abilities average in my next life.
Yeah.
She is extremely rare. So is he. It's just completely different circumstances, which I thought was quite a brilliant way to go.
Yes, agreed.
That's what made me laugh through the whole thing as they're fighting the goblins and just she takes the sword and goes at the goblin. I'm like,
well, and I'm intrigued by the premise because you have this idea. I like the fact that they're sort of bouncing back and forth between the real world and the isekai world.
Yes.
It's a welcome change.
Pretty cool.
And I like the fact that there are stakes, but that the characters think through the stakes. It's not like, you'll have these various anime series where, you fail the game and you die. And everyone suddenly...
SAO.
Well, or like, you have a smartphone, it chooses you, and you're in the real world, but you have to fight to the death, whatever. And often characters don't really think through the consequences of that. They don't make preparations for it or anything like that. They're just kind of like, oh, well, I guess I'm in the game. I'm going to go to the convenience store now. Whereas in this, I like the fact that the character's like, okay, given our limitations, what should we do next? You know, and
Right.
given
like
whoever,
funny.
you know, yeah, and who's smartest, who's most skilled, how should we balance all that kind of stuff? Yeah.
And like how he learns, he goes, oh, so I can die without consequence and myself and get killed and come back 30 seconds later, and so I'll just get myself killed as many times. But then he learns, oh wait, there is real death involved. If team
All
members
of
of members of the team also die, then everybody dies.
And what I like about that is that because we know they're going to get more members later, the danger of that is going to get lower, which then is going to change their tactics, which then might also make them more, more aggressive, which can then, so it's a neat, thing to throw into there, I think.
Which
Interesting
having come off of Rental Girlfriend and just loathing the male protagonist in Rental Girlfriend.
Yeah, I can imagine you like this guy a lot better.
I'm sticking with this because I like the novel approach. I like the consequences of your isekai experience. That you're not in one world only. You're in two worlds. So it's like we have yet to see what the consequences are in their home world. We know what happened. We've gotten some exposition on what happens in the world of the game, and what death means there, what it means to do the quests and to level up. But we have no idea what the consequences are in the home world. Are they allowed to tell people about this? Is this something that's like a game violation if you share this information on social media? We have no idea what the home world consequences are to the isekai world consequences. But I just hate the male protagonist. I'm like, oh, you're doing this to me again. His whole like, oh, I'm just gonna do what I'm gonna do, and I hate this city. It's like, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
My.
And at least I get a sense that there's some progression there.
There better be, because if he stays this way, I'm just gonna throat punch somebody. Like, oh god.
Well, also the thing that made me chuckle was the Dr. Manhattan with half the head.
And incomplete sentences. It's like, is this the beta test of your isekai world or something? You've gotten past the alpha, so things kind of sort of work, but your in-game navigating avatar is like only half complete. Like, what's going on here? I don't have a lot of confidence in how this works.
There's clearly something missing. So I wonder if
you have to complete a quest.
Right.
Welcome, Max, to our place of. Ow.
Tell us more.
Yeah, just finish the damn sentence.
Actually,
finish the sentence.
That might be their question when they finish the quest. Can you please talk in complete sentences? Because that's the reward, right? They are able to ask him one question after they complete the quest.
Moving on to Sport Climbing Girl.
Yes. Wow. Did you guys like it?
One sports anime of the season, I think. I enjoyed it. It is very much a sports anime. I will also say I was shocked. They are not the worst team in the league.
Right.
That did not come up. They're just a club.
Huh?
Basically, girl who has no particular pull to any particular club in her school, sees the rock climbing club, and is intrigued and goes over and tries it out. And this is the story of her kind of doing, getting in with a club. I like how. Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, and the team is a good mesh of varying skill levels.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, which makes it kind of like, okay, not everybody sucks except for the one person.
Yeah.
And they make it clear that there are different types of climbing events, and you start to figure out who's good at what. And it's I have other reasons, but go ahead, Brett. You're gonna say something.
I was just gonna say I like the fact. So in every given sports story, the protagonist is supernaturally good at their thing.
Whether they know it or not.
Whether they know it or not, exactly. And I like the fact that, given the fact that she's never done this before, Spoiler alert. The reason she's good at it is because she was a big video game player, particularly like puzzle games and like puzzle action games. So it actually shows the rock climbing wall as like Candy Crush.
Right.
Or one of those different games. Like, okay, make a trail here, make a trail here. This connects there. This connects there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So, and so the reasons why I'd like this one, and Brent got to hear my commentary during the thing periodically, just blurt out crap out of my mouth while watching it.
Crap.
Crap. No.
Crap.
I never really myself was able to do bouldering that well. That was something that I was I'm actually interested in that. I actually, way back in my retail days, worked for outdoor stores, and so I sold that equipment. So and worked with walls and stuff like that. And it was really interesting when you bring up the gaming thing, because there are paths, and each one, as they point out, is colored, so you kind of figure out what you need to do in order to get to the next level, and she's really good at it. But it was just interesting to watch something that wasn't sexualized, that wasn't this is if you're looking for big boobs, you ain't gonna get it here.
I mean, some of the characters have big boobs, but they're not,
Well, I was gonna say the cover art for it was initially what I saw. It came up as a new series. I'm like,
huh?
Yeah.
But it's definitely I liked it.
Yeah.
I'd continue liking. I'd continue to watch it, but I think that's more along the lines of that's something I know about. So,
but it's definitely more. It's definitely more sports oriented. Yeah. It's not sort of the relaxing elements of rock climbing. It's
it's very competitive.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, the whole premise of the episode is whether or not she even gets into the team.
Yeah. I was gonna say, because I was looking for something that would be like a nice, just something just simple, relaxing to watch, and non-competitive kind of thing. So I was now I know.
Yeah,
you know what knowing is, right?
Half the battle.
Half the battle.
Exactly.
Go, Joe.
So yeah, exactly. I will say the animation is solid, effective. I can't recall any sequences where I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that. Partly because it's rock climbing. There's not too much you can do. But it's fun. It's cute. There's definitely, they're climbing in, spandex. So there's definitely that aspect to it if you want to go there. But none of it is
CGI supported or just all drawn?
Not that I saw. It was all hand drawn.
I don't recall seeing any.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Moving on to Jujutsu Kaisen. One of these older shonen series of this. Definitely in the sort of Bleach sort of territory, supernatural action kind of territory. Yeah. And it's pretty much that. It's, weird creatures, main character becomes aware of them, has to fight them off, but with a twist at the end of that first episode. In terms of what the character does in pursuit of goals that turned out to be a bad idea.
Murder everyone?
No. This is episode. So I will say, for season previews, I like to say anything in episode 1 is fair game, because that's the kind of thing that would be on the back of the box. So I think it's fair to reveal the and this is clearly the premise of the show, is that the main character is very much this sort of heroic shonen character, save people in need and so forth. And he, without ruining it too much,
Ichigo.
It's Ichigo. He just is. And he does something that causes him to become more than one person. So he's not the only person inside his body anymore. And that is clear to be a very bad thing in this world, in this scenario. You don't want other creatures inside your body, particularly this one.
So is it actually somebody, or did he just like
it is somebody.
have a schizophrenic break?
Yeah, no. It is somebody.
No,
that
it's
inhabits
somebody.
him. Yes.
Is there a scene where somebody is wearing like these really weird sunglasses that say like Rook or something on it, and they're looking at a girl across the street?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think
Because I saw like a meme that was made by somebody, and it had the dark-haired looking protagonist and a pink-haired dude next to him, who was wearing like these weird glasses.
Yeah, I don't think so. But
Okay.
definitely, if you're into that sort of supernatural action shonen thing, that's what you're gonna get. And oh my gosh, like the action animation in this was stunning.
It's good.
The fight sequences, people are, and it has that sort of kinetic action where people are, launching themselves over things and grabbing somebody and throwing them, that kind of stuff. It's all that stuff is there. It's really cool. It's one of those things where, again, if that kind of appeals to you at all, this will probably be right down your line.
Okay.
Cool stuff. And some good comedy. Like some fun comedy.
Funny moments, yeah.
Yeah. It knows when to be light and when not to be. I'll put it that way. Moving on to Noblesse, which is which is
Yeah,
your all description of that one. Okay.
Gay Frankenstein.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was. Actually, I got hyped at the very beginning of it because as they're going through it, doing the intro, it was actually the intro song is done by Hyde from Lord Cancel, and yeah, I'm a big fan of them and him. So I was just like, oh my god! And usually his music is attached to something, to things that are, with the exception of DNA Squared, is usually attached to good anime.
Triggered. Sorry, go ahead.
You worked for Trigger?
Yeah, I wish.
but no, it got into it, and then it pretty boys in their late 20s and early 30s, at school, and there's a lot of squeeing girls with cameras taking pictures of these guys. And you come to find out one of them is over 800 years old, and he portrays himself as a student, but he's very posh, and there's just a very strong yaoi vibe to all of this, and it's not in an offensive way or anything like that, or anything bad. It just feels like it's going in that direction.
It has a very light touch in that respect.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. It's a very light touch, but you can definitely notice that we're kind of going in that direction. And so there's really good action at the beginning of it.
That's the thing, is it's like 3 different anime at once. Like there's a supernatural action thing, there's a trying to fit in as a student at a school thing, there's a I'm a secret agent in this secret organization thing, and they're not really focusing on any of those. They're just kind of picking away at each one throughout the course of the episode. It also doesn't help that this is apparently made at Production IG. But it is not the A team, and it doesn't even seem like the B team. Other than the action animation, which is nicely done, everything else is literally just folks standing around lip flaps. Like there's very little in the way of actual motion or animation at all. Which feels
so with all those different parts, 3 things thrown to one. Is this too many? Too many cooks spoil the stew. Too many stews and no good cooks. Is this kind of that kind of thing where it's like it's not successfully doing any one of those things?
It's hard to tell. It also doesn't help that they released a 1 episode ONA, like half hour, that is sort of the prequel starting story to all of this. Apparently when like the guy wakes up, the 800-year-old guy wakes up, and all those story around that. And that's basically like episode 0 of the TV series. So you come in, and you're supposed to know all that.
Yeah,
Like,
there's some prior knowledge that you need to have to really understand some of this stuff.
read the book before you watch the anime.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, actually, it's a little bit off-putting, and it is a little bit confusing, and it just feels like a hot mess.
Yeah.
Mm.
And I can certainly see it getting interesting. It has interesting elements in it. A lot of the characters I like. I like the fact that one of the characters is in this sort of awkward position, is kind of trying to find himself, kind of what his role is going to be in the society and all these, all these things. And clearly kind of has a good heart and has a, he's trying to do the right thing, but he just doesn't know what right is in these scenarios. So that's an interesting direction they could take it. But yeah.
But will they have enough time with with all the things that are wrapped around it to pursue a coherent single story?
It also felt to me kind of like, I remember watching like episode 9 of Fushigi Yugi and being like, I don't know what any of this is going on. And I kind of bounced off the franchise because of that. Because it was exactly the wrong point in which to, learn anything about that franchise, because there's a lot going on. Who knows?
Interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Moving on to That Is the Bottleneck, which I'm going to have to look up a little bit here.
That is the bottleneck?
Yeah, so this is another sort of
filler. I love it.
4-koma, oddball humor style. It actually, when looking through the image search, one of the if you like this, watch that things is Nichijou, as sort of a similar in approach. It's just very oddball humor, I would say.
Is very God, I had to explain it.
Yeah.
I just loved it from the whole thing. I snickered through the whole thing, and I think part of it is that some of the stuff that you'll only appreciate if you've ever worked those kinds of jobs before.
Retail.
And it's a retail. So if you work retail, you're definitely gonna get this. If you have watched way back in the day Clerks, there's going to be elements of that in there that you're going to be like, oh, okay, I get it. That's kind of funny. And just the storyline about one particular character whose face you never ever see goes along in tandem with a character whom you don't know if you're ever going to see again, who you think is the main character. And then that's all I'm going to say about it, because and again, it's only like 3.5, 4 minutes long. But it's got a great outro song by a band whose name I cannot pronounce. It's kind of like this long, but it's a great. It reminds me a little bit of what was it, Zealander P? Zealander P or P Zealander, something like that. That band. But it's if you want a good filler, just something to chuckle at and not have to think too hard about. This is it.
That is the bottleneck. And sort of flash animation style, very much that kind of very, very thing. Next one is Tonikawa Over the Moon for You. One of the sort of the romance series of the thing. I like this one a lot, actually.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
I really enjoyed this. It was very sweet. Boy sees girl, is interested in girl, and then Truck-kun comes along and hits him, but he's miraculously saved by the girl, and then pursues a relationship with her, basically, and doesn't want her to go away, and then they get married. Having seen first episode.
It's the fastest marriage in anime.
Pretty much. No. Well, it might be.
There was a My Anime List posting last week that gave out like various series. They're like, this one episode was like 10 episodes. This one was like 34 to marriage. And they're like, the fastest marriage in anime, episode 1. That show, Tonikawa. I'm like, oh, well, there you go. Okay.
I'm trying to think of Please Teacher. Anyway,
we talked about this last week. It was like episode 2.
Yeah, you're right.
They got hit.
Anyway, there is clearly more going on, right? Like,
yeah.
There's clearly something going on there. but this is one of those situations where if you've watched enough anime to appreciate that, to know, okay, there's going to be more twists. This is obviously sort of a rom-com situation. Yeah. The way they interact was very sweet. Like I bought their relationship as something that I could believe the two of them want to spend time with each other. And the overall pacing and the comedy beats and so forth, I thought flowed very nicely. It remains to be seen where the plot goes, and I think that's going to be sort of the big question. But what I saw was a very sweet rom-com.
What I saw was on one level, a sweet rom-com, and I'm just waiting for Seiya to pop out of the woodwork and start doing a hack job on the wife. Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, it was sweet. You're right. The way they interacted and how they wound up together, in by the end of the episode, and how they get married actually, during the course of the episode.
Show quite a lot of that.
And I thought that.
Yeah, at the midnight marriage registration desk.
That's right.
Heaven help you should have to go talk to anybody at the courthouse after 4 p.m. And apparently Japan, in the middle of the night, you can get service for marriage registration. Damn.
This is why the entire time I was watching it, I was just going, there's more to this. She's a monster of some type, and it's going to come out at some point. Sure. In some rom-com fashion. Mm-hmm. I liked it because it made me laugh, and as soon as he steps off the curb, and Truck-kun, nails him, and the rest from that point on, I was just laughing because. Here he is. He gets back up, and there's this whole conversation between him and the truck driver who hit him. And the truck driver is just like, "No, you really should go to the hospital. I feel bad about this. You really should." No, I'm gonna go find her. And he actually just goes, we're just down the street on broken legs.
And the driver just then apparently leaves. Hey, if nobody's dead, I'm not at fault here.
Hey,
there we go.
I also thought it was cute.
Mm-hmm.
And the protagonist, again, is thumb in my eye.
Okay.
I'm just like, why can't we have... And, I get the whole premise of the goofiness of their initial meeting and how that happens. But it's just like, it's at a moment in time where it's like, I would like an actual protagonist who sees the girl across the street and the truck goes by... and then she's gone, and then it bothers him, and he's an adult, and he's actually able to sort of internalize some of his dialogue about, gosh, she was so beautiful, I really think I love her. How could you love her? You only just saw her. Some kind of dialogue like that versus getting hit by Truck-kun and then being like, let's get married. Be like, oh, brain injury hurt you here? The story that's going to come out of this that I really want to know, and that's going to drive me to watch this. It's not him, it's her.
Mm-hmm. Right, yeah.
Because in my own mind, there's one track that's she is the daughter of the, greatest conglomerate ever. And she has billions of dollars, and she has to be responsible and marry the other conglomerate's son. But she said, no, I want to live my life, and she ran away from home. And she just a thumb in her parents' eye, because I just like using thumbs and eyes. She gets married. Haha, take that, rich family. And now he suddenly finds out he's the male heir apparent to a super giant conglomerate. And I go, that's track one. Track two, and it was just looking at her hair color. I'm like, is that Unigasai? Oh no. Is this going to be Mirai Nikki?
No.
Is she, what I mean? But that's, what I'm in the back of my head, I'm like, is this some kind of thing where it's she's homeless and she's penniless. And so she has found a willing sucker. So that their interaction's really sweet. Are we going to find out in this that it's really sweet because she has practiced this a lot to find the right person to latch onto and mooch housing, food, etc. from, and to disappear from something terrible that had happened. So now she uses his name and she disappears. And I'm like, oh, I hope it's the track where she's an heiress. I hope it's not like really something really like.
Do you want me to tell you? The manga at least, not the anime. The part of the manga which is clearly different than the anime.
Oh, I don't. Oh God, having the it's like I want to know, so I watch to the end of the anime.
And again, clearly the anime takes a different tack than the manga. But I can tell you what the manga did.
Okay, well, yeah, I can live with that.
It's actually kind of what you wanted. In the manga, he gets hit by a truck. Beautiful girl saves him. He confesses his love. She says, I'll be your girlfriend, but only if we're married first. And then they separate. He doesn't. Right. He is in his sexual interest exams. She shows up when he is. This is the same. This is the same plot. I apologize. I was confusing with a different story. Let's see here.
Well, you spent 9 hours watching anime.
Exactly. Yeah. There does not appear to be anything else going on in the manga.
What?
Yeah.
No rich running away from the family. Nothing.
Nope.
Oh.
She just shows up and is like, let's do this, and they get married, and it becomes about them getting used to being a married couple.
How oddly sweet and innocent.
I know. It's very weird. Because
I don't know how to feel about that.
I was thinking in my head that she shows up very quickly, but I forgot. Yeah, there's a time skip where he turns 18. Interesting. Yeah. Okay.
All right.
So presumably, they both thought about it, and she's been thinking about it, and so she shows up. I don't know. Now, granted, this is Wikipedia, so there may be more going on there behind the scenes, but I don't know. We'll see if it goes anywhere.
Well, I'm gonna watch it, even though, like I said, I don't like him, but I'm gonna watch it because I want to know about her.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know what I mean? She, of the two characters, she is the one that interests me most because I want to know what her motivation is.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
His is goofy. Love it.
I want a girl.
Pretty simple on that. Look, attractive person. I'll go over there.
I want to make a T-shirt with that phrase. Goofy love idiot. That is brilliant. I love it. I love it.
You could wear that at the next concert or Farcatch.
That needs to be in the
next album title, Goofy Love Idiot.
That needs to be on anime trope bingo. Like that is just one of them. Like right there. All right, so speaking of fun, with a dog and cat, every day is fun.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Huh? Another 4-based thing, a couple minutes long, contrasting what a dog is like versus what a cat is like. That concept, very much. I laughed.
I laughed. I cried. It was a cat video.
It was a cat video. So one of these, like a nice lunchtime, is it like 12-minute, 4-minute?
I think it's just like 3 or 4. Yeah.
Okay. So it's just like 4 minutes, if you've got nothing to do while you're waiting for your ramen to finish up.
Yep.
It's just something cute to throw on.
Mm-hmm. Actually, that's about how long it is. Honestly, I think that's about how long it is to wait for a ramen.
Yep.
Okay.
Here we are. Perfect.
Sweet. All right.
Yeah, exactly that. All right. Let's move on to one of the 2 most anticipated anime series of the season, Yashahime. This is the Inuyasha sequel series. And Steve and I talked about this a little bit. We found the first episode a little frustrating, not for any bad reasons, but for the fact that we're introduced to our new protagonist, and then we cut to the cast of the original Inuyasha, basically. And the whole first episode is basically them, doing stuff.
Yeah. It's like 90%. It's like 90% Sango, Kagome, Moroku, Shippo.
In like a very obvious. Hey guys, just in case you forgot.
Yes.
Here's all of what these people are.
Well, actually, the title of the episode is happened or something like
Yeah.
that. It actually, the title of the episode is "And This Happened" or something like that. But it's clearly alluding to, okay, we know here's the end of the series, and you're probably wondering how all this is playing out.
Right.
So this is the story that we're going to give you.
Yeah, and it's okay. Who's together?
And it is Inuyasha.
Yeah. Who ended up together? All that kind of stuff, and who has kids? Who doesn't have kids? All that stuff.
I'm assuming it's also not only for old school fans catching up.
Yes.
It's also for new introduction people that are like, oh, I'd heard about this Inuyasha thing that now they are like, oh, those are who all those people are.
Right.
And they're fresh to move into a new story.
Yes.
I got you.
Exactly.
Okay.
And so it was a little, and the structure of it is you get sort of the protagonist in the opening scene, and then you cut away from that, and then the final scene is the protagonist and the other characters from the new series, introduced. And I wanted more of them because I've seen enough Inuyasha. I know who those characters are, but it was they could not have done it any other way, right? The fans would have torn down Tokyo if they'd done anything else.
They were ripped into shreds.
Right, exactly. It was just how you had to do it.
So as a fan of Inuyasha, I was actually pretty happy with it because you get a definitive. Here's what happened at the end of the series. Here's who they are. This is where they are in their lives, as it's told at that point. And then you're literally just introduced to the 3 new characters who are all called the princesses, and each one of them is different. And there's only one that has any real connection to the old Inuyasha series.
Right.
Being a daughter, and the other 2 I don't think are connected to the group, the band that was in Inuyasha before. They're totally new characters, but because it's done by Rumiko, she uses the same designs over and over and over and over.
Right.
So you see these very, very interesting designs. But like, for example, you see Kohaku, you see Sesshomaru, you see them all.
Yep.
And then it gets into the story, and I think what's going to play out is that probably for the next few episodes they're going to go back and forth. Is my guess. What continue the story of what happened with the Inuyasha group, and then dovetailing it finally to what these 3 girls are going to be doing.
Yep.
Well, if it was 90-10, I wonder if it's for 3 episodes. It's to be 90-10. Then 75-25, then 50-50, and then forget, once you hit 50-50, you just go launch the remainder of it.
Yeah.
Which honestly is not a bad way to introduce people. It's not terrible.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it was really nice. Please.
No, go ahead.
And it was really nice to see the gang together fighting. That's just fun to see. It's also funny. There's a brief flashback to episode 1 of original Inuyasha, and it's like it is the animation for the original. They didn't reanimate it or anything.
Wow,
which is kind of odd to see. And then seeing the new version and it's obviously different in terms of color palette and just generally how it's done, but it didn't feel like, oh my gosh, how much time has changed. It's just oh, okay, that's just a slightly different style. And now we have this version. It matches up very well.
Familiar, like a new but favorite shoe.
Exactly.
Thumbs up.
Yeah, absolutely. Fun. And adventure. If you need more adventure.
Adventure.
Yes.
Yes. Speaking of which, Our Last Crusade, which is the story of a young man trying to stop a magic war against a group of witches, which one clearly wants to stop the magic war as well, and is it's sort of the I don't know what you call this.
Romeo and Juliet.
Yeah, I mean, it's Romeo and Juliet, but it's that magic fighting magic thing. Of I have the magic circle and it shoots, blasts of things at you.
Yeah.
It's more military war as opposed to other stuff. And that's actually one of the things that I liked about it is that it is weaponized magic. in this very military context. So it's not something you kind of normally see, but it's Romeo and Juliet, very much so, and it will. I did appreciate the fact that you have all very active characters, except for the Captain Leader Loli girl, who I am very concerned about because she seems like a complete dingbat. But
But what reminded me of that character was Testarossa?
Tessa Testarossa of
from
Fullmetal Panic.
Fullmetal Panic.
You're right.
Where she is extremely capable and a tactical genius and fully deserving of her position as a captain.
Yep.
But get her out of the captain's chair, and she's just like,
Yep, very true.
So, for this first episode, I share that kind of feeling like your captain's an idiot. But obviously, you're making this really clear point on her like complete idiocy that at some point in time you're gonna be like, yeah, she's totally, but, and then you're gonna get that payoff. I hope.
Yeah.
I hope. You're gonna take time with the character. You better pay off, damn it. Better not just let her just sort of drift off while you're going off with Romeo and Juliet here.
And my sense of that particular character is everyone else is just like, okay, we're gonna do this, that, and the other thing, and you run that way. Go.
Yeah.
Stand back as support and do whatever you do support.
Yeah.
While the rest of us fight. Okay.
Yeah.
We'll be OP over here, and you be like helpless over there. Awesome.
I'm glad you brought up being OP because that is one of the, I think, potential issues with the series. Whenever you have magic fighting magic, is you have no idea of scale. So I don't know if we're going to get any sense of danger in a lot of this stuff, which is kind of important in war stories. So I'm hoping they figure that out more clearly.
Well, just in that initial combat, you don't have a sense. Like, people are getting like little bolts of electricity from a gun. It like hits them, and there's like a bzzz. So it's like, okay, did you taser them? Are they dead? Is this like a bolt of lightning and they're dead? Or is what are the consequences to your throwing a golem up?
Right.
Can it crush you to death? Or does it do the magically impossible, here's like a 50-ton stone fist, slams you into the ground like our little panda bear friend there in Panda and the White Serpent, nails you into the ground like a stake, and then you go, oh, I'm dazed. Like, there should be a smear. You're not dazed. You're dead. So that's what you're saying. It's like the scale. You don't know what are we doing. How does this all play out ultimately?
Yeah.
So.
And
but I'm gonna watch it. I like Shakespeare. I'm gonna watch it.
Sure.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I'll give this one a pass. I laughed at it but not for any good reasons. I just part of what I found, the one thing I found interesting was the combination of modern and archaic with the big use and using the military hardware. I thought that was kind of interesting, and the premise of it is whatever. But by the end of it, when she's sobbing in the watching the opera, I'm just like going, okay, wait a minute, isn't the front of this massive 100-year war like right over there? Now you're dressed up and you're here.
You're neutral city, which is right in the middle of two warring nations.
Right. And meanwhile, why does almost every single female character,
except for her maid,
Right.
Yeah, you're
it's
right.
like
For the maid.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just kind of like, wow. I think Brett, I was saying to you, I felt like my like they were coming through the screen and beating me in the face with them. So, Jesus.
So mission accomplished.
Yeah.
Well,
and we get
and
we get a bathing scene in episode 1. Like,
Yeah. Which was unnecessary in the extreme.
I disagree. I think that was a very necessary and important scene to see her in her bath.
It is the absolute pivot point for the thing. Well, remind me, does the first episode have them go to eat after the opera?
No.
Oh.
Okay.
Why?
Things get stupider.
Okay. Great. Okay.
They just get stupider.
Good to know.
Let's put it this way: when you, I won't say what they say, but I will say that when you decide to really, with obviously body type and story, how they're running the story, you have your two warring faction lead characters saying exactly the same thing at the same time with a food order that is very, very particular and is like more than 10 seconds or more of how to describe an order of some food, and they both repeat it at the same time in the same pace. And that's not the first time it happens. Episode 2, it happens twice. And it's like, I got you. I know they're really similar.
Yeah.
I understood that part. You two really need to hit me with that. Thank you.
All right.
So yeah, it gets dumber, but it gets dumber. But I was entertained. I was genuinely entertained.
Yeah.
I'm not going to give it like a masterpiece grade rating. It will entertain me during lunch, and that's fine. That's all I need.
Speaking of entertaining, By the Grace of the Gods, another technically isekai series about an 11-year-old boy out in the middle of nowhere with tons and tons of slimes all around him. And you get to see his story. Interesting pacing on this one. It starts out as this kind of simple, okay, there's this kid out here, he's obviously unusually talented or skilled with this, and you get the twist halfway through that he's actually isekai'd. And he's just kind of trying to live. This is so many isekai characters are trying to be the hero. And I appreciate with this, he's just trying to live a morally decent life. He's just trying to go out there, have a life in which he can kind of have a hobby in a way that doesn't hurt anyone else.
Yep.
There we go.
His most important thing that I took away was, hey, I want the time for me to be able to do what I want instead of being time for others.
Yeah.
He's a master of his own slimy world.
Yeah, exactly.
Of his own slime. And I could have done without the excrement slime. The others didn't really need to know about that one. That one we could have inferred.
Dish cleaning slime. That would have been a fine point to draw the line.
Right, exactly.
What you do in the cupboard there with the cleaning slime, none of us need to know. Thank you. We were fine without that. I'll be interested to see how this is, because I swear I thought it was an announcement for an anime that was earlier this year, where it was another isekai, and it was a girl and her friend go to another world, and she doesn't want to be the protagonist. She doesn't want to be the main hero character. So the friend goes off to be wildly popular hero doing things. And all she wants to do is just live in a house and just be normal. And I don't know whether is that a series that launched, or is that still somewhere?
I think that's next season, or I think that's in the future.
Because that's what I was kind of hoping this was going to be. It was it was not going to not in a bad way, but it wasn't going to really necessarily develop into adventure stuff. It was going to be my simple life in the woods and the encounters of people who come in the woods, and I stay in the woods. Versus, now I get to leave everything I've put together, or all the stuff I've worked on, and I go off and do stuff.
Now, that said, the tone of the opening and ending theme suggests that it's definitely more relational. It's more about him interacting with all these different characters. You have the cat girl harem thing,
right?
Weird. With
I'm done with that. And the young version of the priestess from Goblin Slayer.
Yes, exactly.
I was like, oh my god, no, is it?
Look at the feeling there's going to be something, with the two of them, getting to know each other, which looks cute.
They'll fall in love. 2 10-year-olds falling in love.
Yeah, It's fine.
It's an isekai. That's all perfectly normal.
Well, I clearly, and that's another thing I like about this is that it all feels very age appropriate for, an 11-year-old interacting with the adults interacting with the 11-year-olds. I like the fact that they saw the slimes and he said, no, stop. And they're like, oh, okay, sorry, apologies. Right? Like, we're not going to escalate this. Totally fine. Yeah.
And we're not going to dismiss you as, oh, you're just a kid. You don't know what you're talking about. Mm-hmm. We're gonna adult over here, and you go away. Exactly.
It felt like the world has reasonable consequences for things that happen, which is good. All right, let's move on. Let's not bury the lead any further. Let's move on to one of the other most anticipated anime series of the season, Higurashi. When They Cry. Yep. Or I forget the name because it's announced it has a new name. But this is the new Higurashi series, which was billed as a remake, is clearly not a remake because they're changing around some of the story elements. So again, we can talk about it.
What Higurashi no Naku Koro ni Go.
Go. That's right. Mm-hmm.
Right. Go.
We were watching this thing, and the entire time we're like, okay, she's gonna go around the corner and somebody's gonna stab somebody, or this is gonna happen and somebody's head's gonna fly off, and it doesn't happen.
It doesn't happen. Yeah.
Right. The entire episode is built up.
But you get creepy. Oh my god. Yeah. It still has the vibe of the original series, where it's very, when they start talking about, I'll just call it to avoid spoilers, the incident. Mm-hmm. Like it's said to two of the characters, and they're usually bubbly characters as Mion and Rina. And they're just like, oh, do you know anything about this horrible incident? Nothing happened. And it was just tonal, just like, and you only see their mouth, and you only see it for the brief second that they say it. So it's not like there's any lingering. Yeah. It's just that you notice that there's just this like psychosomatic, psychological.
I don't know.
Yeah. Then it stops. So it's just like, it's a quick edit. It's a quick cut edit. And it's just creepy as anything. And then,
so if you know the original Higurashi, you're just on edge, waiting, for what's going to happen.
So they get to the point where she shows them the garbage area, and they use Rina, and that's the girl in the white hat. And I can't repeat it. Can't really repeat it now, but the whole time I'm just it's she's blankety blank. Blankety blank. I swear the effing blankety blankety blank blank blank. And it's gonna blanking happen. So the whole time, and it's just, but it really is. You just, we were talking about foreboding in Blood, the Last Vampire. 20 times that, at least for me, because I know what happened in the first one, and it just scarred me the hell and back. But it ends with, of course, just you go, oh god, here it comes.
So,
and
you all have probably seen the key. It's probably like the key image of Higurashi, which is Rina, orange-haired girl with a cap, holding a giant, knife.
Cleaver.
Right, the cleaver. That is the final image of the series. That is, or of the episode. That is what you see at the end of the episode. So it is clear that bad things are going to happen, right?
Right.
And as Brent pointed out, it is very much aware of itself.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So I just gotta say, there's a moment when they're searching through a trash pile, the trash pile, and he goes, boy, this is taking forever. I wish somebody had an axe or a cleaver or something around somewhere.
This is the poor guy saying
to
this.
Kill me with?
It's just like,
no,
okay.
Don't wish for these things.
Now, is this telling something where people who have seen the original Higurashi or the older Higurashi and have now told their friends about it, that people who are totally ignorant of the entirety of the thing, this is their point that they can get into Higurashi, or is this, do you have to have prior knowledge and it makes it better?
No. You don't need prior knowledge.
Correct.
You're just going to do new and horrible things.
Yeah. So it is apparently, again, as far as we can tell, I haven't seen beyond episode 1, but apparently this is this is going to be a retelling in the sense of it's going to be the same basic concept, but not the same events.
Okay.
So they're going to rewire the way things happen.
So somebody can come in new to this and be perfectly fine with it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Well, you're not going to be fine with it. You will be scarred for life. But yes, exactly.
You'll at least have a clue about why you're scarred for life, not just generally scarred for life. Okay, good.
And so while we're watching this, just so you know what Brent did to me while we're watching this, periodically I'm like going, "Oh my god, this is good. It's good. Oh my god," and he's going, "Oh, it's so nice and peaceful, and everyone's happy, and it's everything's fine. Everything's." I'm like thinking, "No, it's not fine. It's never going to be fine for this. Never, ever.
I'll never be fine again."
And I will also say, and again, you're good on the show. It's going to be rare for somebody to. So I think you're going to have sort of three kinds of people watching the show: folks who have no idea what this is somehow, and stumbles on this, and it does a very effective job of starting sweetness and light, and then dropping some hints that something weird is going to happen. And then, hearing some strange things, and then that final image in episode 1, where you're like, okay, this is going to be a horror show. So it doesn't, halfway through episode 1, suddenly have somebody, get their torso ripped out or something.
That'll come later.
Yeah, that'll come later, or worse.
So all the Moe fans, by the end of episode 1, will be like, "This is so Moe, but I feel uncomfortable." For
You'll know.
But I'm already hooked.
Yeah.
I'm already hooked.
How bad could it be? The second group are folks who, like you were saying, have heard of Higurashi but never actually watched or experienced any of it. And I think this is a really good introduction. Where, again, you get all the Moe characters, you get to know them, you're like, oh, this is cute, but I'm seeing the little hints in there, and yes, I'm seeing the direction it's going to go in. It doesn't feel like a bait and switch in that sense. And then you've got the Higurashi fans who are watching it going, wait, but they're at the thing now, and they should be revealing the thing, but they're not. He doesn't know that now, and now they're moving on, so this is something completely different. So now I've got to rethink how all this plot is going to go. So it gives them something more to think about and something new to experience.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, good on that. Good on
that. Yeah. It quality does it. No. I'm going to give it.
Quality, death, and destruction with little girls.
Yes, exactly. And so let's move on to something nicer, happier, more pleasant. Wandering Witch. AKA Kiki's Delivery Service, the TV show. One of several, actually. Cute little girl, cute Moe girl, wants to become a witch, becomes a witch very, very quickly, and has to go out on her to get apprenticed. And that apprenticeship does not go the way she expects. It's Moe, 14-year-old girl witch, going through her travails as an apprentice. It was darling. It was cute. I can't think of any other way of describing it. That's what it was.
It's on the proper side of saccharine sweet.
Yes.
It's not
exactly.
It's not overboard, and you'll be surprised by a couple scenes where you go, okay, that escalated really quick.
That went dark quickly.
Yeah. But it, of course, it all resolves itself. And the only complaint I think I had with the episode is that I thought this particular dynamic was going to last longer than the first episode.
Yeah,
her and Fran.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Stardust Witch.
Started to switch, yeah.
But
otherwise, you're watching Kiki.
Yeah.
I gotta say, what I think the hook for it is just exactly what you say.
Mm-hmm.
That's the hook, because by the time now, I think it's the second episode already.
Okay.
You're getting some interesting stuff going on with her character.
Oh, really?
That you only get, looking back from only episode 2 to episode 1, you can see a little bit about it in her.
Okay.
She can't get her apprenticeship going. She's too smart for her own damn good.
Yeah.
And she's naive.
Yeah.
And I mean, she's not willingly naive. She's just literally naive because she's just studied magic. That's all she's done. She's not really done anything or gone anywhere. That's why she's going to be a traveler. She's going to experience those things in life that will give her knowledge. And you see in episode 2 some of the quirks of her personality because of not knowing things, because of her own moral compass, is formed by her 2 very loving and very protective parents and her sheltered life.
Yep.
That you start to see some of that develop out. So it's getting, even in only just 2 episodes, I enjoyed the first episode. I thought it was so cute. And then by the second one, I'm like, oh, so we're not just going to travel around and do nice things and deliver pies.
Yeah.
We're actually going to talk a little bit about the different things that are going on in the world and how you're interacting with them and how you have your own arguably lesser hangups, but your own particular lens to view these things and the choices you have to make about what you think is right versus what other people in their world think is right. So I'm interested to see where it goes. So
nice.
I good on that.
Good.
Good on that.
I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad to hear that it does develop. There was a series called Some Days Dreamers, which is basically the same premise. And it does a similar kind of thing where it kind of feels like it's going to be, whatever. And then it is actually about like, okay, what are the moral implications of doing these things? And
right.
That's great.
Well, the girl leapt through time.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? It's like I can change things. I can make things happen. This is great. And her own naivete leads her to doing things that have expected consequences. And she has to, deal with the implications of just because you have this capacity does not mean that it is something that you can just throw down and be like, yeah, let's just go for it. Like, no, you get a little plan in here. You gotta look at what's going to happen.
In Some Days Dreamers, magic is actually regulated by the government. Like, you have to fill out government paperwork before you can cast a spell. For that reason, because these have consequences, and like somebody has to check on what you're doing because you can like rewrite reality. So,
wow.
Speaking of consequences and rewriting reality, The Day I Became a God.
Yeah.
Another show that is met with much anticipation this season because it is by Jun Maeda, the arguable inventor of the crying girl formula. Young man is suddenly kind of accosted by a cute little girl who proclaims herself to be God.
Not just any god.
Odin. Yep.
What is up with Norse god?
I know, there are like
here?
3 Odins this season. It's very strange.
There are an awful lot of like Buddhist, deities that they can certainly work with. They could go with Hinduism. I mean, there's 1.5 billion Hindu gods. Yeah. Why is it always something to do with Greek mythology or with Norse mythology?
Because Greek mythology and Norse mythology are foreign in Japan, so they're exotic. So
there's not a lot of Hindus in Japan.
Fair.
They're in the neighborhood, but not exactly next door.
Yeah, that's true. Anyway, so she shows up, and we get lots of cute moe-ness for 24 minutes. Except for the fact that she reveals that the world will end in 30 days. And so we're going to see where that develops, what exactly that means, because she is very clear about that.
Steal a Ferrari, drink everything you want to drink, eat at the finest restaurant, charge everything on the credit card. Yeah.
She manages to prove to the guy that she knows what she's talking about.
Yeah.
Like, she's able to superpowers is being omniscient, so she knows what's going to happen, and so she's able to prove it to him, even though she looks like she's 12 years old and dresses up like a nun. But she's able to prove this to him, and by the end of it, he believes it, but he doesn't really quite process it yet.
Yeah.
That the world's ending in 30 days. So we think that the world's ending in 30 days. And
I kind of have a 10-year-old girl god show up. Yeah, that's a little hard to swallow. Even if she proves that she's a god, be like, where's the giant towering dude with the flowing beard and the robe? I mean,
well, see, this is where the moe comes in, and
Exactly,
it's that comes in, but. But then by the end of the episode, I'm kind of second guessing about what the world ends in 30 days actually means. Does it mean that the world is ending, or does it mean that his world is ending, meaning him, the love interest? Is this, or what is it? What does this actually mean? Because he keeps saying stuff like, "Oh, okay, I want to go into the same college as my love interest," and the girl goes, "Why? The world's gonna be blown up by then, or not blown up? It's just the world's gonna end in 30 days. Why would you want to do that?" So
Yeah. And
you can turn it into it like you're going to hold hands with her in 30 days, so your world will end because you'll finally have a girlfriend. That would be too simple.
Yeah.
That would be too easy.
Yeah.
Jun Maeda is known for his tragedies. He is known for making it hurt.
It ain't gonna go well.
Angel beats. So yeah, this is gonna be a ride. And they do an amazing job throughout this show of, again, if you know Jun Maeda, you still get sucked in. The girl is still really cute. The main character is very much considered the
funny
main character. It's funny, absolutely.
Actually, very funny. It's
very self-aware too of the fact that he doesn't immediately believe her. He doesn't, immediately he's like, "So where are your parents?" Now I'm gonna take you to a police box, right? He's doing all the things.
Are you lost, little girl?
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
He does all those things, and so we're just gonna have to see what happens with all of this.
I watched successfully one episode of Angel Beats, then read some reviews of it and read some synopsis of it, and then watched the last few moments of Angel Beats, the end, the end part, and said, "Yeah, I'm glad I didn't get involved in that." Am I going to be going through the same thing here, where it's I'm just gonna have to ride this one out and then wait for the end and be like, "Oh, I'm glad I didn't get on the boat."
Yeah, yeah.
I thank God, Brent, that you said to sit and watch through the end of Angel Beats.
Yeah.
Because that was at the end of what you think is the episode. I know I would have been. Well, you guys have heard my mouth. You can just imagine what I would be like by myself, with not even online, and I probably wouldn't even have a TV anymore. So yeah, so it starts off light and funny and airy. Actually, is a word I would use for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But knowing that who this is and and he said, didn't he say that he was going to write a sad thing?
Oh yeah,
It's just like you almost want to go, you know what? Just do the last episode now. Let's forget everything in between. Let's just go through the pain. Let's just like a Band-Aid. Let's just rip it off.
Absolutely.
Well, there's 12 weeks or 11 weeks. I don't know whether it's going on to the second episode or not yet. So there's a few months to just wait for this on the back burner and then read the complete synopsis and then decide whether you want to watch it.
Yep, pretty much. If I recall correctly, he said that he plans to make the saddest anime ever.
Oh, no.
That is his goal
no.
with this show.
So in about 12 weeks, ladies and gentlemen, in about 12 weeks, the three of us independently are going to be in our respective abodes going an ugly cry for like about 3 hours.
Yeah.
I want to do something like Clannad After Story times 10. Oh, no. That ain't going to happen. Wow. What was it? The American Dad, when Roger was playing Tearjerker, and he made the world's saddest film called Oscar Gold. Like, it's just like everybody's gonna see my film and die crying. Like, this is what this guy's gonna do. Like, kill us all because it's so sad. Like, oh no.
If anyone can do it, he can.
It's going to be a great date film. Well, now you've seen me at my worst. Let's go out.
Yeah.
Or even better, hey, there's a pretty girl across the street after I've been crying so much. Truck good. Hey.
So let's move on from sadness to cute fun mowiness and Kuma 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 Bear.
Yeah.
AKA Bear.
Yeah.
So this is not really an isekai, actually. It's a girl playing a video game, a fully immersive VR video game, where she has a thing for bears. So she goes around in a bear snuggie with two little bear puppets on her hands, and the puppets
of doom.
Exactly, the bear puppets of doom. Which are apparently essentially special items because you can use those to either do attacks or to, like, summon bears that you can ride on and such. And she goes.
They're cute bears. They're not like grizzly murdering salmon bears.
Exactly. No. This
like,
is not
like Panda
bears.
from White Surf.
Yes. Just very much larger.
Yeah.
Yes,
yeah.
Very much so. And it's cute. Again, it is one of those just cute series with this girl going off on this adventure. She basically, literally, kid runs into the adventuring guild and, our village is under attack. Okay, I'll do that. I'll accept that quest.
Send the bear girl.
Yeah. And so she goes off to fight it off. What I really like about this is the fact that we actually then cut to see her in real life for a little bit. Like there's I think at the very end where she, finishes and then goes and goes about her life for a little bit. And she's a remarkable, but a 15-year-old girl who's got her life and so forth and so on. And so the video game is just a thing that she plays, right? There's no death on the line. There's no stuck in a magical world. She's just going off and doing that. So her attitude and all the stuff is, cool, I'll go off and do an adventure. This is fun. I'll help these people. This is great. I'm enjoying my time. It has an uncomplicatedness that I really appreciate, where it's not forcing drama on you. It's not trying to manufacture drama. The drama is just in the scenario she's in and whether she can complete that in an effective way. Right. And so just this cute fantasy adventure story, basically.
Yeah. Do they ever address? I know in Bofuri, I think it's within like the first episode where the girl, her character is called Maple. Maple goes into the game and she's got no armor, she's got nothing, and she's sort of learning the mechanics of the game. And one of those slap you in the face kind of things where it's like, oh, don't forget, Maple, in the game it's like 24 hours in the game, but in the real world it's only an hour.
Oh,
you know what I mean? So it's like they address that kind of thing where it's like, okay, I didn't really, I don't need to know that. I played games where it gets to be day and night, and it's only been like 2 hours worth of real time.
Right.
Yeah.
But they don't go that far to be like slap you around, be like, oh, it's just a game. And these are some of the things, the mechanic, and she just plays for a little bit between her like light tennis club and her studying for exams. They don't go that far.
No, you don't get bogged down in the mechanics of the game. As a matter of fact, I don't think you learn very much of anything about the mechanics of the game.
Agreed.
You just, as a matter of fact, there's no, there's not even a die in the real world if I die here. There's none of that. There's like, your character dies and that's it, and you just go back in again.
Yeah.
You have the little cheesy login screen, log out screen, inventory screen.
I didn't even see that.
No.
Oh, okay.
There's no respawn points or anything like that. It's just her
in-game play.
I think the biggest takeaway from this is that she's using it to create relationships for herself.
Yeah.
And even that isn't really pushed on you that hard.
Yeah.
It's almost an afterthought.
It's clear that she doesn't have a lot of relationships in her real life. And so this is sort of the way she likes to spend her time. and so it's implied in what you see in sort of the opening theme song and so forth that she's going to find more people to interact with in the video game. But again, it's not one of those things where she's miserable and this is her one chance. She's just enjoying doing this thing, and she's fine being alone, right?
She's having fun.
Yeah, she's having fun. Basically,
it's Gun Gale 2 with Len, the little pink-haired, little pink-hatted girl from Gun Gale 2. She's self-conscious about her height. And she plays the game because it gave her a cute little chibi character. And then her interactions with people in the game that broadens her actual real-world social circle. So that she has one good friend when she starts the game, and when she finishes, she's friends with people that were on competing teams. She's friends with people over here, and their real-life friendships develop and blossom out of a sort of isolated kind of girl. Experience. So
that's the sense I get. I don't know how far it's going to go, but that seems like the general theme.
Okay,
but who knows?
I'm gonna throw that on the watch list.
Yeah.
Besides, it's the Puppets of Doom. They're awesome. I love them.
Yeah.
I just want to see a little girl in a Kuma Kuma outfit with a.
She doesn't take it off.
Bare knuckle fight.
Moving right along.
Thank you.
To Akudama Drive, and my main note on this, I am reading. I quote, Cyberpunk AF.
Yes.
This is an anime original Cyberpunk anime series with a group of ne'er-do-wells all thrown together. Last big score. I mean, maybe not even last big score. Next big score, probably.
Right.
Going off and doing their thing. Big budget, obviously, very stylized, and very referential of things like Blade Runner, Tarantino films.
Oh God, is it?
Yeah.
It was. I mean, I was almost competing with Brent with naming science fiction and other animes, and it is like when you watch this first episode, you're gonna be like, oh hey, that's Blade Runner. Oh hey, that's this. Oh hey, that's that, and it works pretty well within the thing. Now it is definitely cyberpunk, definitely so, and I love the world building that it's in. But you have to. It's anime, okay?
Yeah.
It's anime, and some of the stuff you're just gonna have to accept.
Yeah.
The motorcycle itself.
I was just gonna say,
you're just gonna have to accept it.
One of the main characters.
But,
go ahead. Yep.
And it's really great nonstop action, and the music that they choose with it to accentuate it really does a good job. I mean, everything. You're right. It's a budget behind this because everything seemed to mesh together, and but it is high energy, man. I mean, you, after watching this, you're just gonna be like, I'm on the ninth floor here, but I think I can make it 30 feet to the next building. Yeah, okay, I'm gonna just give it a try. It's
I'm gonna go for
very, it's very, very, very. You get a shot of adrenaline a little bit. But what was the way that you put it, Brent? About like what the target audience for it?
Oh, I forget now. What did I say?
You said that you. If you said if I was you said
if I was a 15-year-old boy, this would be the greatest anime of all time.
Wow. Yeah.
What about the motorcycle? You were going to say something about a motorcycle, Brent.
So one of the characters rides a Tron light cycle style motorcycle, a little bit like the Akira, classic motorcycle, that includes grappling hooks that it can fire, and he can basically Spider-Man, swing around the city and then drive up buildings, and then
like
unleash, right, and then drive everything else. Yeah, I will say that is probably about as over the top as it gets. Right, like it's kind of the limit. The action sequences obviously are crazy.
You just have to accept it. You just have to accept it.
Yeah, you just have to accept it.
Yeah, I got you. I got you. Suspend your disbelief.
Very much so. And actually, it's one of the things I want to point out. I was quite impressed, given the sort of heavily stylized character designs, the very sort of richly tapestried world of lots of neon billboards, all that kind of stuff. I could follow the action surprisingly well.
Yeah.
Often,
it's not confused.
Yeah, often it gets really muddied, or it's just kind of hard to see who's where.
Right.
Things are flying around. They do a really good job of making all that work, despite the fact that it's not, a colorful fantasy moe series with, very clearly contrasting colors.
Right.
It just works, surprisingly well. So good on them for that.
And it's not so darkly set background that it's difficult to ascertain what
Right.
pieces parts are in there.
It's not all browns, yeah.
Okay.
Which is very nice. Speaking of cute, fluffy moe series, the Sleepy Princess in the Demon Castle.
This would have been the best in show. I think for me. If you want something light and you want to laugh and you just want to just enjoy it, this is really good. This is just really, really good. All she wants, she's an abducted princess by evil demons and demon lord and monsters, and she's in the terrible castle where it's always storming and lightning and everything. All she wants is to go to sleep. She just wants to sleep. That's all she wants. And in doing so, she winds up having the run of her captor's castle.
Okay.
Because,
It's brilliant. I am telling you, it is brilliant.
Mm-hmm. It is not serious in any way, shape, or form. It is just this, this girl, and damn it, she's going to have a good night's sleep. And she's going to do whatever she needs to get a nice pillow. And, well, she needs this, she needs that. Okay, well, she'll find a way to getting that. And if that means she has to, get the key out of her guards and wander around until she finds the right stuff for her thing, and then go back into her cell so she can get her sleep, she will do that,
Yeah.
Okay.
Because she just needs to get her
circle
sleep.
with her in the cell, and she's looking around, and it's not really a bad cell.
Yeah.
Like there's mirrors, and she's like, I'm getting 3 nice meals a day, and they are nice meals.
Yeah.
The other thing is that they look
Okay.
really good. And she goes, I get 3 nice meals. I get pretty much whatever I want. I'm not back in my kingdom, so I don't have to work. And so I get to, I can't sleep. And I just, first it's the pillow, then it's the blanket, then it's the bed, and then it's the noise, and then it's this, and it's that. And she doesn't care what ghost she has to maim with a giant pair of scissors to get what she wants.
Wait a minute. Did you say maim a ghost with giant scissors?
Yeah.
Maim a sheet ghost with giant scissors.
Yeah.
And I don't want to spoil how she gets the key. That was just brilliant and awful at the same time, and it keeps happening over and over and over again. And you're just like, ew.
What the hell?
Yeah.
Ew in the most cutest way possible. That's the best way I can describe it.
So what's the target for this? Is this for like little kids? Is this a relaxing, just kind of goofy little something?
Remember Fractured Fairy Tales?
Yeah.
That's it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So definitely, young kids can enjoy it. The monsters are sort of yokai-esque monsters, where it's
Right.
It's an oni, or it's a living sheet or whatever. So it's not like scary.
It's the Kabu guy. It's a big chunk of wall.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, kind of stuff. But I think it is also aimed for it's lunchtime. I want to watch some anime. I don't want to have to think. Right? I just want something cute and fun and silly that's just going to go. There's no plot. It's just, this premise sort of being executed on and having fun with it. Yeah. cute.
I'll throw that down on the watch list. Okay.
It's fun.
Yeah.
Um,
Is the chat back up? I just saw that the chat
I am
is.
seeing my chat seems stuck. But there may be more. We will. I don't know if I can change anything there, but that is what I see at the moment.
Well,
mm-hmm.
Well, in any event, watch this anime because it's fun.
Cute.
It's cute. It's very cute.
It's cute. It's fun. In a disturbing way.
Yeah. Moving on to what I would say was in a sense, the biggest surprise for me of the season, which was Gymnastics Samurai.
Yes.
In the sense of a show that started in one direction and went in directions I did not expect. Yeah.
It's hard to imagine what directions they go with Gymnastics.
Well, I'm glad you said that, John, because this begins with a male gymnast who is essentially, at the end of his career. Like he just, he's hurt himself enough. He just can't continue. He's going to have to retire. And so he decides to retire.
And he's one of the last Japanese to actually medal.
Correct.
In Olympic events.
Yeah.
For gymnastics.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that, yeah.
And he has a young daughter, like preteen daughter. His wife's passed away, and he's gonna have to tell his daughter that he's gonna have to retire. And she loves her daddy. She loves the fact that he's a gymnast. She loves all this stuff. She's a nice kid. Like she's not gonna, she's not. It isn't her whole world. Like she wants what's best for him, but it's always gonna be a tough thing. And he keeps trying to find a way of telling her, and can't quite do it. So they go to Edo Showcase, Edo something or other.
Edo Wonderland,
Edo
where
Wonderland.
where they showcase Edo in feudal era times. It's actually a kind of neat concept.
Yeah, and it actually exists. You can go there, and it has sort of all these things set up, and you can sort of wear traditional Japanese garb and run around and so forth, and it's that kind of thing. He takes her there.
Cut peasants down with the samurai sword?
Exactly. Yes, you can do that. And they have street performances of samurai and ninja. She loves ninja, which is good because they suddenly come across a ninja being pursued by 3 black-suited agents who go after
deportation agents.
Yeah, deportation agents. Where she goes, oh look, an agent! I wonder if it's Agent Smith. Wrong thing.
Wow.
And so they run off. This ninja that they come after shows up at his house and begs for asylum from the family, which they ultimately agree to let him stay there. And every time the protagonist tries to tell his daughter that he's retiring, this guy interrupts and changes the subject. Yeah. This is a weird direction for this show to take.
Yeah.
Well, it's a MAPPA. It's a MAPPA work, so there's always going to be something like really kind of freaky about it.
Mm-hmm. And so he goes to the press conference where he announces that he is going to retire not.
That's what he says.
Mm-hmm. He's just about to retire, say he's going to retire, and then he says, I'm not going to retire.
Okay.
And by the way, the ninja displays very good gymnastic skills and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And, and so, you see the formation of a team happening.
Mm-hmm.
And,
you see some kind of thing happening there.
Like when we went into it, I thought it was going to be. When we went into it, I thought it was going to be like a, another sports anime, kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And then at a certain point, it just turned left and turned off the blinker.
Yeah.
It just went off and up. totally different direction.
There's also the Big Bird.
It's good. I liked it.
There's a what?
Oh God, I hate it. You know what? I hated it so much. I blanked it out of my memory. Thank you for putting it back in my head.
What was it?
Oh my God. It's a 3-foot tall fat parrot with a heart on its chest, and it's goofily drawn, and it's loud as hell, and it's just obnoxious, and I just want it to die.
A 3-foot tall parrot.
And it lives in their apartment with them, and like does
Big Bird Aragaki.
I don't know what that is.
That's apparently what they call it in my anime
there
list.
We go.
Big
we
Bird Aragaki. Like,
okay. And it's just there, and it's completely out of place for the tone of this retiring gymnast who's trying to confess that he's, retiring to his daughter, and this thing. It's just what? Why? I don't understand.
It's like a parrot. It's a parrot with Tourette's. Okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a hard selling point on this show with that thing. Oh, wow.
It's odd.
That's the only really bad thing about it. Yeah.
And it's also interesting because it is played very serious in the sense that like none of the characters are over the top. It feels very much like a live action drama, right? Of these characters dealing with this thing. But then there's the weird parrot, and then ninja that's living in their house and is like doing ninja things, like poof, disappearing.
Like they come in to eat breakfast, and they're sitting there, they're talking, and then they stop for a moment, and they kind of look up into the ceiling, and
yeah, he's up there in the corner.
He's like stuck on the corner.
Yeah.
What the hell?
So I don't know. Like I was fascinated by it. I want to see where it goes, but it's just so many different things woven together with this show.
Yeah. Now I was very surprised by the outro song. It was Orange Range, Shanghai Honey, but it was a cover of it. It wasn't Orange Range themselves.
Yeah,
it was
done
a cover
by
of
the
that
voice
song.
actors.
Is it?
Yep.
Okay. But for those who don't know, Orange Range, they did Asterix for Bleach, the intro for a few. I think that was the intro song for like 2 or 3 seasons. It's a good song, actually. If you listen to the original, it's a good song. It's a fun song. But the ending sequence, credit sequence, is totally not what you see in the rest of the anime, and it's them in bright lights, Tokyo, and kind of cruising as the song is going and lip syncing to it, and it's kind of like, I guess, showing you what is the future for the anime.
I guess.
Energy, high positive energy. But I was kind of thrown off about it. But I think I'll still watch it, even though I hate that damn parrot. You tell I loathe it. But I'll keep watching it just because it took that turn. But the weird thing is that it took that weird turn, but it still fits. All of it still fits.
Okay.
Yeah. And they did such a good job of nailing that relationship between the father and the daughter that, like, I just want to see where that goes. Like, I'm in it just for kind of that thing, or I'm curious about that thing. Speaking of relationships, Adachi and Shimamura, our Yuri series of the season.
Yes.
Go for it.
Okay, well said.
No. I'm a sucker for this type of it's formulaic as heck, and bought into it. I mean, it's it reeled me and hooked me in, and the whole time I'm just like, I don't know if you saw me on the Zoom, but I was like literally at the table, just like
I'm invested,
and very much so. So I'll be watching this, but of course I'm biased because these are the type of things I like.
Oh, so. Absolutely. It's cute in that sense of just seeing two characters bonding. and seeing their relationship start to form together, and they clearly have this very sweet, relationship with each other, feelings to each other. The Yuri aspect is, I would say, clearly foreshadowed, in the sense that it's clear that they're developing feelings for each other, but there's nothing, they don't push that to the foreground this early in the show, because they're kind of just getting to know each other.
It's very natural and organic in how they're developing.
Mm-hmm. And there's some interesting stuff around just general sort of friendships, forming friendships, what that means, particularly around like other groups of friends, and like just because you're friends with these people doesn't mean you're friends with those people, and all that kind of complexity around that. Again, impressive animation budget for a basically just girls hanging around chatting, where you don't need the budget, but you need the budget for all of the facial reactions, for the movements of how they go from one place to another. It just kind of sells the reality of it, which I really appreciated, and especially just kind of detail the character designs.
As I say, I see the studio is Tezuka.
Tezuka
Productions.
Yeah.
So
they're putting the effort into it, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, sweet relationship series. Definitely fun there.
I'm assuming it's not going to go like suddenly dramatic and like
it
high
might.
Energy.
It certainly might go dramatic. I can see it taking a turn, later on, where they're not sure about how they feel about each other, or somebody has to move across country or something. I can see it going in that direction,
but not like somebody died or there's a giant earthquake and everything.
Doesn't seem that way.
At risk of being killed.
Yeah,
okay.
No.
Yeah. Not that kind of drama.
Melodramatic, as opposed to
melodramatic.
Yeah.
Japan's not sinking in this one.
Exactly. Yes.
That film could sink off the face of the planet for my concerns, or that series.
Yeah. Live action movie is impressive in its own right. But anyway, I can't think of a transition for this one. Hypnosismic Division rap battle.
Yeah.
So to understand this anime, it is worth understanding its context. Yeah. This is a multimedia franchise of rapping voice actors, where these voice actors are in teams. They release rap albums and rap battle albums, and then the public votes on which ones they think won, which team they think wins, and that all becomes another thing. Hugely successful on the Oricon #1 for multiple CDs in this franchise. So obviously successful. 18 different voice actors involved, and this is the anime of that. So it's basically voice actors doing rap battles for 24 minutes with the thinnest tissue of plot.
Yes, the plot is so
plot. There was a plot.
There was a plot. So basically, the ruling party, which is the Word Party, has decided that all weapons that there will be a cessation of creation of lethal weapons of any kind, and that all disputes and all police activity and all whatever, instead of armed conflict, we're gonna rap.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Oh.
Yep.
That's what happens. So you're introduced to the different rappers. I don't even want to call them rappers.
Yeah.
They're boy bands that talk into mics. And that's the other thing, is that the mics are somewhat weaponized in that the winning rapping side is able to stun, knock out, or hypnotize the other side.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Able to take the other side out non-lethally.
With the force of their rap.
Right. And so, so you're introduced to each of these groups and the characters in each of these groups. And like at one point, there's like a hostage nurse taken hostage with a guy holding a knife to her throat, and the police are standing there unable to do anything because they can't rap.
Right.
The doctor in the hospital figures out that this is happening, and his two friends run up there, and they save the woman by rapping. Yo.
Yep.
And by the way, they're all insanely pretty boys.
Of course, yes.
Yeah.
So the record company said, we have all these rappers. Is there a way we could put an anime together that has them in it? Let's get a plot put together. No, don't worry about that.
No. Remember, these are not rappers. These are voice actors.
Voice actors
who were hired
in this,
right? Who were hired to rap. So they're not even. This isn't even their job. This isn't even their original thing. They just started voice acting, and then they're like, we need to hire you to be part of this project to rap for us.
Somebody's just not doing something right.
They're doing all the things right because they're making all the money. Like, this is hugely successful. It's working.
It's just terrible. The bit that we watched, it was just like, why? Why is this a thing?
It's.
Mm-hmm.
So you have different stereotypes. You have the
pretty boy, the
military guy,
the pretty boy, the pretty boy.
The pretty boy and the pretty boys and the pretty boys and the pretty boys. Some wear leather, some wear don't. Some are models. Some are. Most of them are models. You have a doctor in there. You have guys who have contact lenses so that their eyes are different colors. And it's Japanese rap.
Yeah,
that's all I have to say.
Yeah,
done by people who don't rap.
Two things about this, though. Two things. One, props to the translators because they rhyme all of these things, which I'm sure don't rhyme the same way in the Japanese. So they actually make it seem like it is rhyming rap. Kudos to you. One other good thing to come out of this anime, easiest cosplay ever.
Yep.
This is all street clothes. It's all hoodies and jeans. Do that, you're done. You're good.
All you need to do is buy a mic and
I'm cosplaying it right now.
Yeah, we are.
Exactly.
See? It's all good.
Yeah.
It's all good.
And I can't rap either. There you go. How realistic. And I've got the headset on. Everything.
There we are. The final anime that we watched, at least today, was Warlords of Sigdrufra. Something. Which is Moe girls piloting World War I and World War II planes against alien creatures. Basically.
Brought to you by the god
Odin. Why not?
The theme of today's season, of this season's anime, is brought to you by Odin.
Norse Pantheon. Oh. There you go.
Odin sponsor no takyo de okurishimasu. Again, high budget, definitely. A lot of money going to this series. I cannot recall a single shot that wasn't like, wow, nicely done.
Yeah.
Cute girls piloting vintage military aircraft. We were saying kind of like Girls in Panzer, military aircraft otaku, moe otaku, cross, this is your show. Boom.
Yep, here you go.
It is that.
The magnificent Kotobuki.
Yep, absolutely. Very much like that. We were saying, though, one of the weird issues about it is that there is not a single surprise in that first episode. Exactly where it's going. You know exactly what's going to happen. Okay, yes, and then this. Okay, and then she says this. Yep, it is just all the way through, and not in a bad way, but just in a very predictable way. Where it's like, okay, yes, she's gonna have that crisis now, and then that person's gonna say the thing to pull her out of that, and just Yeah, it is kind of that thing.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, they're going to battle against this mythical giant pillar things and giant monsters, kaiju, and the F-22s and such that are flying in the world now. They nuke it, and that just seemed to repair one of the monsters. And so the only way to combat this is with these vintage aircraft. Now, what were we saying? Flying top speed 120 miles per hour for the biplane.
Yeah.
And and so here are these top fighter pilots throwing out missiles and high speed aircraft, and they're just getting slaughtered. And meanwhile, these little runaway girls, airplanes with sewing machine engines, just kind of going through there and blowing stuff up.
Yeah, and to be clear. Yeah, they have magic. Like I'm sure there's some line somewhere in one of these things that says, "Oh yeah, we magically enhance the planes." So they're but still the mind can't get over the fact that you have a biplane flying with a like a Messerschmitt flying with a Raptor, staying in the same speed with each other. It's just really hard.
Yep. Like I said, we were watching. It's like, oh, well, that Raptor can go at stall speed. Get it? And even then, that's like 500 miles an hour compared to the biplane. Like,
yeah.
As you're watching it, and you're just kind of going, my head hurts. Just accept it. No, I can't. You don't have to get through this. Just to accept it. I can't. Your head starts hurting.
And granted, my head hurt during Girls in Panzer with the firing live rounds at each other. But that's fine because it just pops up a little white. It'll be fine. Running around with the
Carl mobile mortar thing.
Yeah.
And it's launching like battleship shells, and the tanks just flip over. Little white flag comes out, and it's like, I would have killed all of you and blown you to smithereens. Okay.
We're reduced to a crimson stain.
It's fine. You survived. And you were uninjured when a tank rolled over.
Yeah,
so even if the tank blunted the shrapnel shredding you to death, you still pop out of the hatch at some point. And you're like, whoo, that's a little rough rolling downhill in a tank. Okay. I guess.
And Miho prefers to see things from outside and just ride around on the top of a tank. That's not dangerous. Yeah. It's fine. So, fair enough. It's weird.
Suspend that disbelief.
Just
enjoy the show.
Absolutely, yeah. And I will also say, if you can also get past the fact that, again, it is sort of weirdly sort of manufactured war nostalgia for fun, which is a little odd. It is kind of an inoffensively, cute girls fighting off aliens kind of a premise. It is very fun as that. It is anime original with manga series coming off of it. If anyone's curious about that, I'm sorry. As well as light novel series as well. So those are all options. So that is everything we saw today. Was there anything else you guys saw that I missed in the list?
What about the Ikebukuro Westgate Park?
Oh, we saw that one too. Yeah, we missed that one. Thank you.
G-Boys. The G-Boys.
As I say, because I that's where I segued into. Well, no, was it the rap battle that I showed up for? Oh God, no. I think I got in at the rap battle. I think that's where I showed up.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So yeah, we were very intrigued by Ikebukuro Westgate Park. Based on some mystery novels, definitely more sort of grounded than a lot of the other stories. Basically about a good gang, if you will, trying to do good for their for the neighborhood.
So they do the good crimes. They just do a little bit of fraud and thuggery and things like that. They don't do the murder stuff. Well, maybe, but for good reason.
Check kiting, polite muggings.
Exactly.
May I please have your money?
Planting evidence on the people
Don't
who
make
really
me
deserve
have
it.
to ask you. Yeah, I mean, victimless crimes.
Right. Yeah.
What?
And the second thing that we talked about is that it's actually pretty unusual to see anime and manga about like actual street crime, about like street gangs, which certainly exist. And when they exist in anime and manga, they're usually either sort of over the top, right? Like they're the gang that shows up to threaten the main character and kind of disappears or whatever, kicking the puppy or what have you. And to actually deal with the fact that these gangs exist, they're around, they're functional, like they stick around and they do things, is pretty remarkable. And the idea that they're kind of trying to kind of keep the lid on worse things is a neat concept.
Yeah, which is kind of that's odd. I can't think of too many times I've seen that. Or well, would you consider Hina Matsuri? Would you consider that trying to keep a lid on things? Because she goes and blows all the guys out of the competitor's building out of the windows, and that's stopping worse things.
True. Yeah, that's another one. That's another one of those. But yeah, so crime-focused stories are not that common in terms of like real crime.
Yeah.
And I did enjoy the characters. I thought it was a nice set of characters. Steve, you mentioning Durarara. And I think it has kind of that vibe of large cast of characters all interacting. And a little weirded out that they were, they let the 10-year-old girl tag along with them and all of these dangerous things. Yeah. But, anime.
Anyway. I chose the least obstacles for our path. Now jump from that building to this building, little girl. Go, jump, jump.
But you're doing it because you're such a kind-hearted gangster that you want her to have a sense of accomplishment and closure.
Exactly.
Right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So you bring her into a deadly situation so that she can experience that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that'll make her have PSD for the rest of her life. That's PTSD. That's right.
But she will remember you fondly as the father that she never had.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, folks.
And that's a beautiful hallmark moment right there. Worth it in and of itself.
Yeah.
You're such a thug. I wish you were my dad because I don't know what happened to my real dad. You may have killed him, and I don't know. But hey.
I love you like a daughter, and yes, I did kill your father. Season finale. Oh, no! Remember when I told you to jump between buildings? He wasn't in as good a shape.
Yeah.
Oh, that's terrible.
So yeah, interesting premise. Again, effective cast of characters, I think, for the kind of story they're trying to tell. And kind of refreshing just to have something a little different what we used to.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that was the list. Hopefully we didn't miss anything else. I'm going to skim back through real quick. Anything
that was
you guys want to mention?
Originals, not sequels.
Correct. Originals, not sequels.
Yes. I was going to say, because you had, Run to Pick Up Don Machi, Run to Pick Up Girls in the Dungeon. You had Haikyuu. You had Irregular Magic High. You had a bunch of stuff that's now second season or third season. Yeah. Also launched.
Attack on Titan.
No Gun, No Life, which really surprised me because I didn't like the first season, or I didn't really like it that much. I mean, at first I thought it was interesting because the guy had a revolver for a head, but at a certain point it was like okay.
And did you guys did you review what is it, Muno na Nana?
I'm looking at that now. That looks familiar. We must not have gotten to it.
Earth assaulted by monsters that would come to be known as the enemy of humanity.
Does not look familiar. No, we didn't get to it.
I'll say licensed by.
Give me one from us. We did 9 hours today
from Studio Bridge.
Yeah.
Hey, you guys trooped it through like mad dogs. You go, guys. You go. My claps to you.
Thank you. We also missed the Moriarty show, which I was kind of curious about as well.
Oh, yeah, I meant to ask about that too.
Yeah. Skimming back through the list.
There's one thing you can always say is there will be more anime.
Exactly. Always that. Also did not get to see Assault Lily. It's not really the bouquet. Or is that a sequel or something?
Nice.
Okay, yeah, go for it.
I don't know if it is a sequel to anything. I know I just sort of clicked into it because I was thinking, yeah, I'll give it a shot to the magic girl, genre and see what I get out of it. Okay, your main protagonist is a well-meaning sweet girl and all that jazz. And she meets the sort of reluctant, standoffish senpai who, she has to forge a bond with and get closer to, but the senpai is distant because of things. And you have girls who are also enamored with the senpai, and they are trying to get close to the senpai, but end up accidentally getting close to the protagonist. And there's that little kind of Yuri thing kind of going on in there where it's like, oh, okay. The camaraderie of co-combatants as well as the oh, you're so cute, I love you, let me hug you kind of stuff going on. So far the combat action scenes are not particularly greatly done. They're entertaining enough, but they're not very detailed.
Okay. Yeah.
So it's just it's sort of flat. It's a flat effect. There should have been more interesting action in those fights, and it just kind of comes off as in like, I know exactly all the things that are being telegraphed here. You're not going to have these new characters, any of them die, but you could die. We know because there's people have died, but we're not going to see this today. So you're going to win this fight, or at best it's going to be a draw, and everybody's going to come together as this collective unit to support one another in a crisis. And it's like, yeah, I get it. I get where that's going.
Yep.
It'll be a nice show to watch when you're waiting for the next episode of something to come out. I wouldn't really honestly say it'd be a frontline show to look forward to.
Fair.
Yeah. There's a reason why I got a 6.39 on my anime list. I gave it a 6 too. I said it was fine. You know what I mean? But that's exactly that. It's interesting enough that I will fill it in when I'm not able to get to the other episodes of stuff. So it'll be fine.
Gotcha. How about it's not really Gochuman wa Usagi desu ka Bloom? Yeah.
That's the next season of Is the Order is a Rabbit.
Okay. That's why we didn't see it.
That's a continuation.
Gotcha.
Which is still damn cute.
Okay. Fair. Rail Romanesque. We did not see. I know you got a chance to see that.
So I thought it was fine. It reminded me of Girls and Bands, or a little bit, cute girls doing.
And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying it sucked. I'm not saying it sucks.
Yeah.
Don't think I'm going that far.
No, it's fine. I just had you in mind when I was watching. I was just like, I think he might like this.
I do certainly like the Moe girls. The girls are done adorably. Yeah. They look great in their training uniforms.
I can see your point though. If you're not, if you don't, you're not a train fan or a rail fan or anything like that. If you don't know what that means, then that's okay.
Yeah.
Because if you did, then you would understand why I like it. But it really is just a filler, and if you're not really into those things, it's really hard. I get your point. It's really hard to see why you would be invested, even though it's 3-minute episodes. Why you would be invested into something that to you might not be okay. So we're trying to sell stuff. Kind of stuff, kind of a thing. So, but if you are kind of a railroad fan or a rail fan or a train fan, whatever you classify yourself as, you definitely want to watch this because it's kind of funny in a way. And the girl who loves bugs, the girl who loves bugs cracks me up.
Right, but it's so. It would be one thing if you were talking about the rail lords, the physical representation of a rail line. You said something like the Trans-Siberian Railway, or you said the Orient Express. But Rail Romanesque is entirely niche market Japan. So it's talking about the like I said, the Yamagata Electric Rail 357R12. Right? I don't know what those numbers mean. You know what I mean? I don't. And all of the rail lords are all these little independent rail lines in different sections of Japan. And it's like, unless you are a specific railhead for Japan, you're just you'll enjoy 3 minutes of just cute girls talking about stuff together. And it's like it's hard to take away from that. Be like, oh my gosh, yeah, I remember I rode that rail line. I had to get off here and there. It was this smaller train. It was older. That's not something, sitting here on the East Coast of the United States that I necessarily had ever an experience to understand what that means with that rail line. So it was just it's difficult to engage it other than just looking at it visually and being like, I got 3 minutes again before the ramen's done. So I'm just going to sit here. Okay, they're talking. Oh, she's got a hat. Oh.
Yeah. Yep. I hear that. Uh-oh. I may have internet issues. Looks like the Discord is having issues with me. Let me just double check and make sure I'm going okay. On the other side. Apologies for momentary technical difficulties. Yeah, that's interesting. Oh, I may have an issue there. Okay. I am here. 1 second, guys. There we are.
I was like talking about. I was just like, wait a minute, everybody, wait, what?
Yeah.
What happened?
Some sort of internet glitch happened there, but I think we're all back now.
Well, since it was interesting because on YouTube, Brent was moving and Steve and I were stuck. In Discord, I was moving, Brent and Steve were stuck. Yeah, I'm like, that's a weird thing going on there. Yeah. But yeah, so that's the thought on Rail Roman asks. 3 minutes is enough to get ramen done, and great.
Fair. Did you guys get a chance to see Ochikabore Fruit Tart, the Moe Idol series?
No, but I did hear that name recently. I saw something about fruit tart, and I didn't. It
looks cute. 4 girls who are show business dropouts discover their dorm is going to get demolished if they have to start form a new idol group as 4 cute Moe girls, because that's how that works. Other
Studio
than that,
Feel.
Yeah. Not sure. Yeah, I think that's the whole list.
Studio Feel did Snafu.
Oh,
that's right.
Interesting.
Snafu, Kiss by Sis, Mayochiki. Oh no, you also got Nosora. Oh boy.
Oh, good.
Oh, they did Dagashi Kashi.
Ah.
Oh, and Hina Matsuri. Yeah. Oh, look at that. Okay. There you go. Yeah, that'll be.
Yeah.
I would like to hear somebody in chat who's seen Fruit Tart, any part of it. Let us know.
I'm curious about that one.
Yes.
Looks cute and fun. Yeah, again, there's always something we just don't get to. Or at least I don't get to, because that's just the nature of things. Cool. Yeah, that is all I've got. Yeah, more haunted tech. That is kind of the nature of the internet sometimes. But yeah, that's all. There's no anime history this week. Nothing that I had on my list in terms of notable. Interestingly enough,
there was anime, and it happened historically.
Yes, there was anime in history, just nothing on the list for this week. Cool. I think that will do it then for us for the night. I just have one question for you all. What did we learn on the show tonight, Brent? I learned I will never get through all the anime.
Yeah.
I learned that Blood, the Last Vampire makes for a good Halloween anime.
Yeah.
I learned that 9 hours worth of straight anime watching will cause blindness in one eye, fuzziness in the other. I think I might have had a heart attack at one point, but I'm okay. Okay.
Good.
And you know, and there's
kidney failure because you never took a bio break. Oh.
And you have no idea how this leg is bouncing up and down right now because of that reason.
I gotta go.
It's like, I'm okay. It'll be fine.
Just think positively.
Positively, you have to pee. But no, but I learned that we have, thankfully, a lot of anime to watch.
True.
Yeah.
For this season.
I certainly learned that after the potential scare of a very dry winter season thanks to COVID and 2020 putting its thumbs in our eyes, that there is quite a lot that's actually out there. 9 hours worth of you guys to just see, not 9 hours of watching One Piece, not 9 hours of you watching a whole series, 9 hours of first episodes.
Yep.
That tells you we've got a very rich winter season here. That's going to be good.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I remember myself. All right, thank you all very much. Glad to see you all. It's been a great time as usual.
Bye, everybody.
See you next week. Until next time.
See you next week.
Watch
Johnny. Bye. Sayonara.
Have a good one. Bye.